was impressive. Hello. 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 Hello, everybody. Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome in. We're just saying our little hellos before we begin our collab. Nice cat. Thank you. Thank you. Hello. Happy Wednesday. Look at ours to follow. Maybe go. Yes. Many artists. Hello, chat. Hello. Hopefully everyone's had a good Wednesday. Hopefully everybody's day has been going well. Surprise smack. It's funny to watch a drunk Australian explain the Harry Potter movie series. That it is. But we do have a shared chat, so I will be interacting with all chat comments, even if it's not technically my section. But we are all in our group section together. We're all in a group section together. So if I acknowledge you, you're welcome. Well, welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Hopefully you are doing good. It's gonna be a fun collab. I'm very excited. First time to actually watch. Well, welcome in, Sylvain. Welcome in. Happy time zone. Can you ask who I get scared with that, but sure. But sure. Also, congrats to those who got first, second, and third redeems. Thank you for those who are fast. Hee haha. Hello, Eclipse. Hello. Used to graffiti. Now I like anime girl drawings. Yeah. I appreciate it in every talent stream, but I could not grab a single first place redeem. Sad. No. It's okay. You're first in our hearts. But yes, I will let the ladies know. We are going to be playing some R.E.P.O today. Granted, I have watched friends play R.E.P.O, but this will be the first time I've played ever. She. There we go. Let me let them know when you ladies are. Just letting them know. You're in for a time. Oh, I know. I've watched people play, but I've never actually played myself. Never actually played myself. Okay, let me make sure. I'm gonna turn down game BGM because, or my wonderful music, because we don't entirely need that, but it's cool to have it. Okay, let me make sure that we have volume up so we can actually hear everybody. Hello.
Okay, everyone's volumes are up. Hello. Hello. Hold on, let me unmute. And
let me switch over to game
so the reactives can work. There we go.
There we go.
I have ladies, I have something to share with you because someone was kind enough to donate to Stack Up.
Ayo.
Okay.
Ayo.
And I've eliminated some of my punishments because they'd be like too distracting during game.
Same.
But are you all familiar with Bean Boozled beans?
Yes, Bean Booze.
Bean Boozled beans? Yes.
Well, guess what? I spun on the wheel.
Oh. Oh no.
Oh no.
And I thought if I was gonna suffer, I thought if I was gonna suffer, you might enjoy my suffering with me.
I love suffering.
Oh.
I do it every day.
Well, let's see. Let's see what. How do I get the bean out?
Yeah, she's a skunk.
Okay.
She's a skunk.
Let's see.
She's a skunk.
Yeah, I'm skunk.
Yeah, you're skunk.
So,
The cutest skunk.
I can't tell if this is peach or barf or dead fish or strawberry banana smoothie. I think it's dead fish or strawberry banana smoothie.
Oh no, that's the worst one.
No, I hate the old bandage made me like. But hi everyone, chats. I'm gonna eat this bean.
Welcome, chat. We're gonna eat this bean.
Eat
Beans.
the beans. Eat the beans.
Oh my
Oh
god.
God!
Was it dead fish?
I don't
What
know
was
if I
it?
can swallow it.
Spit it out. Spit it out. They
No,
say quitters are
you know
spitters,
what
but
you
it
do.
doesn't matter.
I'm quitting.
Look, there's a loophole. There's a loophole, okay?
There is a loophole.
Just don't chew it. Just straight up swallow the bean.
That's cheating.
Yeah, exactly.
True. Take it like a shot. Just
It's
swallow
like a
it.
pill.
True.
It is a dead fish jelly bean.
Oh.
no.
Gross.
The toothpaste one's good though. What do you
Yeah,
mean? That
oh my
just
God,
tastes
I
like
said that.
mint.
We all should do a bean boozle challenge together.
I just need to get
That was
them.
I'd be
Fun.
down for that.
They're not very expensive. I think it cost me like $9.
I
Put
need to
on
get
your
We'll
them.
go to the
ladies.
store, buy a bean
On the
boozle
throne.
kit.
Are we all
Yes,
adding Bean
disgusting
Boozled
jelly
to our
beans.
thrones?
We'll roll a dice to see who goes first each time.
Oh no! Wait,
Yes.
you know what? I'd be fine with that. I'd be fine with that. I'd be fine
I
with
had
that.
talked to Lexi about like a truth or drink, but we could also incorporate disgusting jelly beans.
Ooh,
I'd be down for
God, truth or no? I feel like truth or drink. I'm just gonna drink every time.
I'll drink everything.
I mean, what? Okay, so how we would do it though? It's like it's not. We're gonna be responsible. We're just gonna take steps, okay?
Little sips.
Little tiny
I'll have,
baby
like,
sips.
soju. I'll just have-
Oh my
just have some
God,
soju.
no.
No one knows. No one knows how. to
Yeah,
make them
like
so accurate.
we're not gonna let anyone get like horribly intoxicated.
Yeah.
That would be irresponsible. And
We
we're
will
obviously
have to have.
responsible adults.
Well, Adrian will be our bartender, and he'll be like, "Okay, we're cutting you off. We're cutting you off. I'm sorry, ma'am. I can't give you
He
another
jumps
one."
in.
No more wine, Nini.
Oh yeah, wine. I could drink wine too. I did not think of
Drunk
that. 'Cause I like
alley?
wine.
Yeah, I
Wine
was
drunk
gonna get,
it's,
like, a
it's
nice-
different though. It's a very different experience.
Are we all lightweights?
No,
I am, yeah,
I'm
I am
unfortunately
a
not.
lightweight.
But at the same
No, that'd be a
time,
sight to see. I don't think I've ever gotten
I'm a
drunk on
lightweight.
stream. Ever.
yeah, I wouldn't say I
Can
have that
offer y'all
experience.
The best of Baja Blast selection.
Yes.
I'd rather not. Mountain Dew makes me crazy.
Can I
I'm
offer y'all
having
the
Baja
a really
with
good
vodka
conversation.
would go so
Absolutely,
hard.
Adrian, I will take all the Baja Blast.
Dude, like a cream, like a vanilla cream vodka with like Baja Blast would hit so hard. Oh my
Okay, no,
god.
I'm fucks with that.
I
I'll
would.
try
Oh my
it.
god, it would
I'll
like be
try
like
it.
Baja cream
Shots.
drink. Oh my
no,
god.
Shots, everybody.
Ooh. Sorry.
shot.
Now I kind of want to try that for real.
Kill
Shot,
me.
shot.
No, I want to really try that. Actually, I might do that this weekend. I might try that. I'm kind of curious. But anyway, we're repoing. So I know I'm hosting, but you guys will have to handhold me whenever you guys are ready.
Yes.
Just let me know to start
Yes.
game. Just whenever you guys are
Yes.
ready, whenever you want to.
My main tip that I learned is that typing as a robot
Oh, it does
still
the funny
counts
voice.
Oh, that's
It
T.
still
You press
counts as
T.
sound. So if there's a monster
Oh.
that cannot hear you and you use text to speech, it still
Yep.
hears that.
Yep, I've seen my
I
friends
learned that
screw
the hard
friends
way.
over with that. Oh
Same brain
I
cell.
I don't even remember how to type now that I think about
It's
it.
T.
I press T.
It's T.
It's not letting me.
It's not.
no! You just type
Oh,
T
me.
and then you type.
You know why it's not letting me? My keyboard is dead and I gotta punch.
Oh, pff.
Oh. No.
Listen, I don't have to charge it. It doesn't die that often. I don't charge it that often.
It's too much. Man, I love
Yeah, can we
Fortis.
get
Yeah,
some-
chat.
Can we get some man I love Fortis in the chat? Go.
Yee.
This is the game. This is
You guys didn't know, chat. This is the actual game. This is Repo.
This is your peak repo gameplay.
Oh,
I
man.
made this quote, chat. It's peak. We love Fortis and older women. Man, I love Fortis. That's from Remy, guys. Remy deserves the credit.
Start screaming.
Yeah. Wait.
Idea. Should I make a MILF car? Yes.
What the fuck? A MILF car? Okay. When we say it that way, it always sounds so cursed, but I'm like, I know it means Fortis.
No, but Josie, imagine it this way. When we all have our bodies, and they have decals, you could easily get like every Fortis half body.
True.
Or you could just get your car custom wrapped.
Yeah,
like
you guys, chat the dream for Natasha. Make it so.
We can be on each door.
I want to be Natasha.
Natasha. I've literally said, like, you know what? I don't care about the money, the fame. One of my biggest dreams as a VTuber is I want someone to custom wrap their car.
Dead ass, for real. Like,
I want put my sexy body on your car.
The minute I knew Callie had Natasha, I was like, that is the dream. That's a VTuber dream.
Natasha motorcycle would be cool.
Yeah, or your motorcycle. Yeah. I'd ride that.
Allie!
I have way too much fun with this stupid thing. See, I have friends who put very curse words in their chat and their text thing, but I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm above that.
It's Lexi's Allie.
I'm sorry, I should have turned off my stupid stream elements things. I forgot to do that. I'm sorry.
Oh, I forgot to too. It's okay.
Okay, we all forgot to. We all forgot
okay.
to. We all forgot. Okay, I don't feel as bad. Like, I forgot. Can't you tell Panther body card? The dream is over. Damn, bro. It's hard.
Oh, you know, you can Natasha a jet.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
True.
Can you Natasha a boat?
Natasha a boat. Please.
I would think so. I would like to think so. If you put your mind to it, you can make anything happen.
Can't drive a jet to work.
Sure
Says
you
who?
Yeah, right? Like, I'm just saying.
Says who?
Says who? The government?
Yeah.
Too bad. Too bad.
Skill issue. Skill issue.
Wait, what's for me and Allie, Remy? What did he put?
Oh no. I don't know. You would say penal codes. Penal these nuts, sorry. You know what? Why you redeem the glorp? You know what? Fuck you, bro. Okay, that's fine. Whatever. I'll be green.
Glorp,
I will be green.
I love Glorp.
Actually, let me take off my hat for now. God, I have to do this for 15 minutes or 10 minutes.
Let me redeem the smooch.
Oh God.
Ladies, I'm sorry, not sorry that you're gonna witness this. Mostly I'm sorry to Josie.
I'm just like, huh?
Oh, you want me to dedicate it to Ellie and Lexi, I just wanted to give you one of these.
Oh.
Let me redeem that for you guys.
You can't sit there, give me a kiss, and not expect one back.
I like how the whole time you guys are doing that, I was like, hugh.
Oh god.
Josie with the popcorn in the background is gonna be funny.
Hugh.
In the corner.
Yes, you can get smooches in my chat.
I was like, huh?
You can get smooches. Thank you for the all. You can get smooches. You can redeem smooches for other people like Ronnie did, if you wish.
Jesus gonna be fourth wheeling. I'm just like, what? Huh?
Listen, okay. No, because like, guys, I have a whole. Okay, so I figured out like a whole thing about my model that I thought was very important. Okay.
You sound like a teenager who's like, I just found out about my body today.
Yeah. Are you there, God? Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret. It's me, Margaret. Okay, but I noticed that my model has exactly 4 rings, which is a bit hard to see in VTube Studio. 2 of them are stacked.
We are stacked.
Right? So, and we technically have 5 Fortis members, which means I have 4 wives outside of myself. I like to think that Josie's ring is like a platonic like BFF ring, okay? Like,
You know what? That's fine. Hey, you know what? Hey, if you guys watched the cover that Bae and Mume did, they did a best friends and they both got friendship rings. Friendship rings are a thing.
Yeah.
That is a thing.
Yeah.
Tell you about my best.
It's cute.
We have a strong platonic love.
Yeah.
Ali and Lexi, well, you know, they're a different sort. That's fine. That's their
Man, I hate being green now. Everyone's normal and I'm just over here on my stream with like full green alien antenna.
Green?
Yes, because
Wait,
someone in my chat redeemed Glorp, so
I gotta see that.
because now I'm the Glorp cat.
Oh.
I'm just like I feel so strange.
That's so cute though.
But like everybody's
so
ready for we're playing R.E.P.O. and I'm like I'm green. I'm just Shrekking over here. It's fine. Get out!
Maybe, should you change your color to green in R.E.P.O?
Commit to the bit. You're green.
Full commit.
Little did you guys know the USS New Jersey is actually Shrek.
No.
Sorry.
Confirmed.
I hate to
Should I
ruin your
tell
dreams.
Ryan?
He knows. I'm sure.
If I
Probably.
call Ryan, wait. If I go to the USS New Jersey because it's not like too far, and I meet Ryan, she'll be like, Ryan, have you heard of Josie 62?
I did have a community member on New Year's Eve have him do like a whole video welcoming me and that he would be happy to have me, and I was like, oh my god, what is this? He knows who I am now. Oh no.
I mean, I might get I think I'll get a Josie standee from Kawa.
Yes.
And just give it to Ryan.
I want to give it to him like I want to give him it to like a gift, like you know when you go to Japan and like you give an offering, like I just want to do the full bow with the fucking standee, be like, my good sir, please take this offering.
Would you like me to be like, Mr. Ryan, thank you for all your hard work as a docent at the USS Battleship, New Jersey. I come bearing a humble gift from Josie 62.
Possibly. Possibly.
And we would be honored if you would accept this gift, sir.
I do plan to try and go, so possibly if I can't go, I might get, if you get
East
there
Coast
before me. Because I was like, I'm dead ass. I need to get there. I need to go because I want to do a tour of it. So I want to do a streaming tour of it.
No, I don't think Ryan is going to sleep with it like a plushie.
No,
Stop it.
I mean, I would hope
We're not.
not.
Don't be weird about it, guys.
Like Ryan is number 1 Oshi, but we keep him on the pedestal like an idol. No one can touch
Yes.
Ryan. Ryan is like very, very demigod.
Don't parasocial Ryan.
We look up to him. We do not lust him. And if you do, I will
You did
literally
call
kill
him
you.
Daddy once, though.
That was an accident. That was an accident. Anyway,
Why did I bring that up, Remy? Because why wouldn't I bring that up? All right. I'm ready.
Okay, we're gonna start this. God help me, Jesus Christ.
Duh.
Everybody ready? Once the game is started, new players cannot join. Yes. God.
Why I gotta play the just like a bounce clip? God damn it.
Sounds like an interesting story that should be shared. No, it is not. I will murder you.
I'm pretty sure it's clip.
Hello.
It's clip, somewhere. Oh, I'm so slow.
It's okay. We can get. All right, text man. Okay, so. Hold on, Josie, crouch. I'm gonna see if I remember how it is. Can you crouch for me?
Yeah. Teacher.
How do I grab stuff again?
Isn't it E?
Why is it not working?
Here's the bed.
Oh, it was right click.
Hello.
I should be able to grab you. I'm like.
I was like, crap.
Oh,
And then
my
he
God.
jumped.
I'm pressing numbers.
Sad.
I have a flashlighter.
You broke a green cup.
I broke her cup.
I have these in the go.
Every very careful.
Oh wait, green plate.
Let's see, chat. Oh God, right numbers!
No, I got it.
I forget numbers are a thing, chat. My bad.
I'm moving to my left.
It's right there behind you.
We're ignoring numbers. We're gonna ignore numbers. Don't worry, chat.
You can scroll it and
I scrolled it as close to me as I could.
Okay.
I forget. Is it tab for the map? Yeah, it is. Tab.
Don't worry, chat. Glorp will be gone sooner than you
I
realize.
can't see anything.
It doesn't show me prices on
Oh,
things.
now I can grab you.
My vision is terrible.
There's something big in this room over here.
Whee! Let's see.
Don't touch it. Doesn't that... Won't that fuck us up?
I hear them.
Oh my god. Wow.
I hear them. Huh? I'm like, I don't know what she's running from. Oh no! Yeah. Oh.
Hold on.
Little do they know, chat.
Hold on.
Little do they know.
Yeah. Now I can see. Did you see the giant head?
I did. I am trying to avoid him.
You like his chompers?
And the duck is in there too.
Oh no, not the
Yeah, we have the baby duck too. See, chat? I know. I watched ahead of time because I'm not gonna be fucking trifled with these fucking beasts.
Oh.
I hide under the bed.
He died.
Oh,
He got munched by the head.
who died?
No.
Nini.
Oh no! I thought Josie would die first. Fuck you. Fuck you for assuming. That's what you get.
So I can't pick up anything.
Little do you know, I'm a pro gamer. I'm a pro alpha gamer. Not the duck.
Josie is a pro gamer.
Yeah, no, it's on me, so it's fine.
Lex is just like, it's okay. I'll be
Josie
mama.
can never die.
I'm
She's
babysitting.
pro
Yeah.
gamer.
Hello.
Baby duck doo 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 doo.
If there was a hole, I will drop you.
Set him on fire.
Come here.
Revive. Oh wait, do we know where Nini's head went?
It's right here in the cart.
Okay, cool. Because of course it's giving me the tutorial of like,
Yeah,
make sure
everything
you
that-
get their heads so you can revive them.
Oh my god, really?
I mean, I would hit it with the cart, but he might not like that.
That's a terrible painting. I hate that. Is there anything in the fridge? No. Oh, we cannot open that door. Wow, boo.
There's something over there.
Okay, how do you open up the map?
Tab.
Tab. Ah, I see. She. Okay, but we cannot open that door either. Oh, Giga Chad.
I'll put the cart right there.
Okay. We're gonna look ahead, chat. Off to work to have fun. Good luck. Good luck. We run. This is this room. Okay, This is there. Okay. I love the mods people make for this game. Same. All right, chat. We're gonna have to find things, but not die from the head. Oh, hey yo. Uh-oh. I think this plays music. Ah, yeah! I see! You have to be very delicate with this thing. Shh. Ah, you're right. It makes me dance. Bands to make her dance. Bands to make her dance. Sit down. Sit down. I don't like
the duck is following you.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I had music. Because I had the music box that kept making me spin!
We're gonna need the cart over.
Yeah, that shit's stupid. It lost a little bit of money though, cause ow.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's all good.
Oh, we did it. Okay, awesome.
The duck is like right there.
Yep, he's just
I know.
vibing.
Okay, I'm gonna bring this back.
He's just my little little child. It's fine. Cause as long as I don't interact with him, he's fine, right?
Yeah. Don't pick him up.
No. He's gonna be ignored like a child at a Target.
I think. Are we heading out?
This is my child from Target. I'm leaving him behind.
Gotta revive the life.
No, sir. We can't take you. No,
What if
sir.
we put him on in there?
Go close enough, you could probably crush
no,
him.
never
Ah, damn.
Saw Eve's tweet. Just while I have a second
Hello.
to. Oh, I'm back alive. But if you saw Eve's tweet about like texting a friend, if you have a friend who's a veteran, like hit them up.
Would
Is
you like
someone rubbing my
to?
back?
Would you
Thank
like to help me abandon my
gosh.
child at a Target?
I hear
There's
something.
so
Have you seen a toilet?
There's so many jets flying over right now. Oh my gosh.
If you've seen a toilet, you can lure it into the toilet and flush it, stun it, and then smash it. Or just don't touch it and don't let your objects touch it.
Okay, get in. We're leaving.
Oh, good. I can turn off.
Oh, that.
All right, Duck. You coming with me?
Oh no.
Goodbye, Glorp. I'm saying goodbye to
Check in
Glorp.
on your friends. Josie!
What about me? What did I do?
I might have done a poll to see who would be the next to perish. I put everyone. I also put none as an option, and I'm sorry, Josie. The chat has voted that they think you'll be the next to die.
I like how everybody thinks I'm gonna die.
Oh my god.
Clearly, tell me you've
I
never been to my
disagree.
streams without telling me you've never been to my
I
streams.
disagree.
I rat like a motherfucker. You don't know me.
You don't know.
You don't know.
We don't have to. You guys know we don't have to buy the health packs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I just
We
realized
got the
there's a
glitch.
French fry.
Health glitch.
Do we want to look at upgrades first? Like
Explosive
who just
mine.
bomb me? Like
Because you're the
a
bomb.
Strength upgrade. I am the bomb, Diddley. I'm just. If a couple of us get like a strength upgrade in the top of your object. Hey, que carajo!
Oh, no,
Please
the
save me
upgrades
from
are
this
everywhere.
mortal coil. End me, please.
Okay.
Now the upgrades are everywhere, and I can't look at them at an organized shelf.
It's okay.
So,
Not allowed.
do we want to go? I think a strength upgrade would be good. It'll make it easier to carry like big objects.
One person could be like
What do you mean, what have I doing?
Strength.
I've done nothing wrong.
one strength and
I've
Was
done
there
nothing.
A health or even a stamina if someone wants like sprints. I'll take a stamina because I like to run and find the
There's one right here.
there's two. I think it's two.
like
feet.
or I mean no
Two feet
sprint
each,
speed.
right?
Like should I grab a sprint speed so that way I can like run and find the next I can run and find the next extractions.
Yeah, you can do that.
And someone grab a strength, and the next time we'll like someone else will upgrade strength, and so on and so forth.
Sure.
One of
okay.
each.
I know enough to survive. I know not enough to actually do proper upgrades.
So
So like typically strength is very useful because
Okay, so there's
the
a
objects,
stamina,
some
a
of them are
strength,
big, and we all need to
and
lift them.
sprint speed. There we go.
But it goes to only one person, so one.
Yes.
We don't have
Zulu,
enough
Zulu, I like how you're like, you're gonna get flustered by what? By what?
We don't have enough to buy both of those.
But
No, I'm not buying it. I'm stealing it.
Bands to make her dance.
No, the upgrades. We don't have enough to buy both.
Oh, no.
Okay,
Oh, okay. So 2. So 1 strength and 1. Or I could take out the strength. We could do.
No, get the strength instead of the sprint. Strength is more useful. We can hit sprint later.
Where's the strength? Where did it go?
No. Because we'll make more money if we
Make
can
me
pick up
fly.
heavier objects. Go with
true.
the strength, I think.
Okay. Alright.
Another jet.
Is that it?
Yeah, we gotta make more money.
Stop,
We broke.
please. Stop. Okay. I'm gonna hit the button.
Take me!
No.
Yeah! Let's go!
Oh, okay, she's fine.
Yeah, I knew I wouldn't. I wanted to do that.
They fixed it because beforehand you actually did the.
Yeah, I wanted to. I was like, I know my friends always commit seppuku here.
If you need health, pick up the health pack. I can start.
Yeah.
Yeah, then just spam escape.
So do I just grab one and just
Yeah, steal it, Josie.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah. Just board the
Do
ship.
it.
Hold on, do
And
I
then
need a
once
small?
start,
I
you just
need.
spam E.
Okay, I'll take a large one.
Is it
Alright,
E?
you ready?
Yeah,
It's
E.
E.
Yeah.
All right, tell me when.
Alright. Spam! Spam now! Spam!
Button mash. Button mash.
Yeah, the keep going.
Yeah! I like free stuff.
Give it a follow. Hello.
See, chat.
All right.
Trust
Who's
me.
gonna take strength?
Follow.
Who will wander into the deep abyss with me? I'll follow
Probably.
you if you
I
take
can
strength.
go.
Probably. I like to wander, but I also rat like a motherfucker. So
Team Lexney.
Let's go.
we will follow you into the dark. What? Wasn't that a song?
Yes.
Isn't that a song?
Yeah,
I think so.
Def Cap for Cutie.
Yeah, I was
That's
like,
okay.
Oh.
We're
that's
not criminals, chat. We're not criminals.
That
We're just
scout.
smart. We're smart.
it's called pocketing smartly.
Yeah.
It's called democracy because we said so.
Oh,
Yeah,
hate
it's called
this
shut
man.
up, chat. Don't pay attention.
I'm gonna check in the store.
I will
have
go
a
this
couple-
way.
Oh, no. Okay, let's
Anything
see if there's
over here?
anything
No.
else.
There is something. Or what are
Hey,
you? Oh,
there's,
explosives! I love explosive things.
Ooh. It's a flamethrower.
Aha!
As long as we don't. I'm gonna need some help carrying it because it's heavy.
Let's see.
What?
Okay.
Alright, let's lift it up a little. There we go. Perfect.
As I like baby
Yeah.
myself so I don't bump into shit.
We might need. Can we get it up higher? Can we get much higher?
Oh, you got it. I can go lift it.
We can also use this to hurt monsters.
Get in there, you little fucker.
Lexi, give us
There we
your
go.
strong arms.
I did.
Yeah.
I will. Let's see if I can fit this in there. Okay. There's something in this room.
Oh, there is something in here. Money.
There's something small. over here.
$500.
You got it.
$500.
And then
There
what's
we
in
go.
this room? Nothing.
Bands to make her dance. Hey, bands to make her dance. Bands to make her dance.
You get it, Justy.
That sounds like that is like stuck in my head now. What is in here?
What is over here?
Also, thank you for all the follows, chat. Thank you.
Check
Oh, there's
the
a thing up here.
fridge. Check the fridge. Oh, there's a monkey in the fridge.
What a strange place for a monkey.
I know. Snack. Thank you for the follow.
I hear something.
Uh-oh.
I think there's something in here. I don't know. I'm gonna find out. I got something.
I think it's like the spirited away thing. I think that makes a weird whisper sound.
Oh, the rape?
The ghosty thing.
Oh, the ghosty?
Bands to make her
The one that
dance.
carries you. Oh yeah, I hear him.
Did it missed? Are you fucking for real? Brother. Whatever, it's in there. Thank you for stretch seltzer. Thank you.
What the heck was that? What the heck?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the room on the right because there's something in there.
Whoa.
Sorry, I'm like.
There's something. There's
Getting the
something.
map.
Yeah, there's something nearby.
Something in here.
There's something.
Yeah, I
Uh,
hear it.
Slasher.
Oh,
Hide,
oh.
hide, hide, hide. Run and hide. Run and hide. Run and hide.
Oh, it's Slicey Granny. It's Slicey Granny. Look. It's
Oh no,
Granny.
I might die here. Oh, we might die. Oh, I might die.
Isn't she beautiful? Stop
I can hold her.
antagonizing
I can grab her.
I'm not in the left. I know, but I couldn't smash the gnomes. I couldn't smash the gnomes. There was.
Oh, they
Oh,
jump.
now I can.
Oh, they jump. Oh, they jump.
Josie, we can smash him. Smash him.
Yeah. There we go. There was
I
like,
was hiding because of the Reaper.
yeah, I was having to like spam buttons.
Where is she now?
She was in there, but I didn't see what she went after I left that room.
There was an object in there. It was going. Okay. I think that's like the only thing left in this map. Too.
Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Do you do anything? No, it's just a light.
I heard something
Hello?
else back that way. Part.
Who's over there? Oh, are you okay?
I'm at 40 health, but that's okay. I had like 4 gnomes after me. Oh, there's something in
Yeah, I
there.
forgot to tell you. Yeah, be careful. There's a monster over there.
Yeah, there's a diamond. Hold on.
Right behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the gnomes, you can just lift
Here.
them up and.
I need
Yes.
some help.
I was just having to
There you
yeet them while also trying to not run into her dumbass. Which way to the car? Is it left or straight?
go. This way. It's this way.
Okay.
And then through here. Oh. Oh, Nini's taking the cart. She's straight ahead.
Okay. I have a diamond.
Clear this room.
Me.
You have a diamond?
I have a diamond.
A diamond?
There we go.
Diamond.
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 I didn't see anything else on the map. I checked like every room.
It looks like Lexi has something.
Shiny sword, my diamond. Oh, there's something here.
Josie?
I found a
there
thing.
you are. Okay.
I found a thing.
Oh hey, R.E.P.O. with 3 ships and a jet. This should be chaotic.
What do you mean?
Okay, I'll look for
What
next
do you mean?
big strike.
This is
Yeah.
totally wholesome content.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, I was singing bands to make her dance earlier, so I guess that's fair. Oh, one more, another diamond ring. I have so many diamond rings.
I'm going to try to find the next extraction point. I think I already
Oh,
know
yeah,
what's
there's
gonna
something
be.
Oh, and a diamond, another diamond.
Oh, I heard that. I heard that.
Oh. I have the whole world.
Ah, I see extraction.
Yeah, it's right there by Lexi. There's also something over there.
There's something big.
I think we're good. We're good. We're good.
Give her the bow. Oh, she's got the strength upgrade too, and there's like a big thing over there. Let's go see what it is. What's the big thing?
Wee woo.
That's from like the bottom.
Wee woo.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys got it. Okay.
There you go.
Is that everything?
Wait,
Yes.
it's on the cart.
Yeah, we
Okay.
got
I
everything.
think it should be okay.
That's the last bit of stuff. Is that enough?
You got it?
Yeah,
How much do we have? Okay.
that's enough.
We've got enough. We're
Uh,
gonna do some shop.
yep.
That is everything.
Okay.
Lexi's definition of gremlin? I
Alright, now we
disagree.
gotta
I think
I don't think so.
Lexi's the, I
She
think
is
Lexi's the
wholesome.
definition of beauty.
Oh,
I wouldn't say she's wholesome, but
all right. I'm meant to bring that.
Ellie's just a little angel.
I love how everybody has a mental picture of people for some reason.
Allie is a
I
fucking
don't know about
gremlin.
that.
See, with
I
how
don't know
people
what you're talking
view
about.
the others, I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know.
Okay, we can get out of here now.
Okay.
Did we get our cash bag?
No.
Oh, we don't even
'cause
need
that
the
was
cart.
only-
We just
that was
yeah,
the-
we just go
We
back.
just abandon it like a child in Target. Yay!
Yeah.
I can't pick it up. Keep jumping with me. Hello?
Careful, they like to smack your ankles. Uh oh, Slicey Granny! Slicey Granny!
Oh my god, there's like 3. Are you kidding me?
Oh.
I'm trying to eat this. What the heck? Stop! Jump! Please!
Oh gosh, she's coming back
I'm
around.
just jumping. Oh my god. There's so many. Hello. Why is there so many of them?
She's camping!
Oh my god, there's so many.
I've never seen
Oh.
Ellie be a gremlin.
I hate this. Stop.
Ellie be a gremlin with Canada grenade. So yeah.
That's no good.
Why? Are you going that way? Don't go that way.
I'm just gonna make a run for it.
I'm turned the way your little guy looks at me.
I say fuck it, we run.
Oh, the gnomes, just run past the gnomes. They don't really hurt that bad anyway.
Oh, fuck.
Josie, over here! Over here!
I hear you. I'm avoiding a gnome.
Okay.
Nah.
There's also a
Oh.
Reaper, so if you have to crouch, just crouch.
Boop, boop, boop,
Right
boop.
here,
Done.
we can see
Let's
you.
go.
Go, 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 go.
Start her up.
Extract, extract.
I
Are we all in?
can't. Can they?
Out of here, you
Can someone need them for me? Please. Oh my god.
Smash their skulls in. Don't make me blush. Don't call me a shit. Apologize immediately.
How dare you call my wife a little shit?
Apparently, I'm bullying them because I hard-eyed at them
Ooh.
Oh.
and made them blush.
Oh.
Boo hoo.
Go cry. Go cry about it in the corner. Go be the child I left at Target.
29. Okay, we'll
I
do.
wonder. We've got
Pocket card. Pocket card.
Oops. I didn't mean to stand on that.
All right.
What do you know about that? Josie hates us.
Why
Yes,
you
I
bonking
do.
me?
Lovingly, of course. Love you guys.
No, no, please.
Stop bonking me.
Okay.
At least I'm not my friends who literally just cause me to die.
Nah.
There's like,
I
go
think
here.
We're all too locked in. We're like, let's win. Were there any more strength upgrades or sprint speed?
I put 2 staminas and 1 sprint. We could do how much? Is
How
the
much
strength?
money have we spent so far? The strength is 10k
Oh my god, why is it so expensive?
because we leveled. We're on a higher level.
That's true.
There you go,
How
chat.
much money have we spent? How much money? How much money?
Not like I
could
like
take
you
out a
or anything.
stamina.
Brah, 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 brah.
Yeah, because the sprint speed's a little bit more useful than the stamina right now.
So we have a stamina and a sprint. We could do maybe another strength.
Yeah, I would go with another strength so another person could have a strength
Go hold
upgrade.
that.
Because if we all
Yeah.
get our strength upgraded, it's better.
They just-
Josie
they just
loves us
throwing
until we
bombs.
compliment her. Then she hates. That is because Josie. I'll say this. She can hear me. Josie's a tsundere.
Yeah, and what? And what? You want to fight about it?
Hey, Josie.
You go.
Hey, Josie. Josie.
I have a bomb. I swear to God.
Josie. Josie, I wanted to tell you something. It's not sus, I swear.
Guys.
Who's my little pog champ?
I swear to fucking God. That is not very cash money of you. I swear to God. Where's the blow up inflatable hammer?
Who's the best gamer I know? Who's very good at Sonic?
Joke's on you. That don't do diddly to me.
You're so awesome at game. Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
Walk
it.
You know who has the most beautiful singing voice I've ever heard? The sounds of angels and pop idols around the world.
I thought you were gonna say
Shouts me out.
Popeye. I was like, yes, I sound like Popeye, please. Tell me the sweet nothings.
Chat, doesn't Josie have the most beautiful singing voice? You guys should tell her. Tell Josie she has a beautiful singing voice, chat.
No, I swear to fuck. I will leave this game. Is this door? Can I leave? Can I leave this door? Is this the exit? Oh, I'm in the bathroom. Oh, I don't need to pee pee poo poo.
Tell Josie she's your combination. I'm gonna make Josie end up push. I quit this toilet.
I'm gonna steal another health pack. I'm stealing a health pack.
Do you even need it?
Yes, I'm at 10 health.
What?
From explosions.
Oh, in here? That'll go away.
Never mind.
Josie an Oshi, but she's not the she's still an Oshi. That's still count. That's still a compliment. Just keep complimenting Josie.
I wanna take my French fry crystal. Let me take my French fry crystal.
Yeah, that's my fault. I may have killed Lexi.
Oh no. Oh no.
What? God damn it.
I may have blown her up.
Fry crystals before guy crystals.
I was trying to throw it back at you. I was like, oh, wait.
Allie, where are you?
I'm right here.
I'm gonna poke you with my French fry crystal.
I don't know how to use. How do I use the? There we go. Bonk. It bonked me too.
I love.
I'm so glad I did that stupid thing.
I know.
I was wheezing because it was like more. It was like I saw it at like noon, and I was still being lazy in bed, like having. I made some breakfast, and I was just like. No more bombs! You know it's bad when a jet girl has to be like, hey guys, no more bombs, cut it out. Cut out your
So do we think we're ready?
Stop.
I
know.
Stop.
I know.
Oh.
I don't feel like an F-117 should have to be like, no more bombs, guys. Come on.
I know, right? we're being very
That's
not
my
like
job.
our we're not being very much like ourselves.
Okay.
I think we're Gucci.
Oh my goodness. You can pick her up. Pick her up. Here, have her.
What are you going to do now, Allie? Oh. You know you can spin her too, but...
Hold on, chat. Hold on.
Dizzy ride.
No.
You know, Allie, this is what I picture doing to you anyway, so...
Oh, you should have put her in the toilet.
Oh yeah, that's right. Put her in the toilet.
She's not in pee pee poo poo mood.
She's scared.
I can't grab her under there.
Oh, we brought a map player count upgrade.
Oh, it was talking already.
What does that do?
Don't know.
I think it shows the players, if I remember correctly.
I don't even know what that does. Hey.
We ready?
Wait, we
Yes.
still have money. Do we want to buy
I'll go
weapons?
put you in the toilet.
You guys can buy a weapon.
Or do we want to get more upgrades? We've got
I'll put you in
11k.
the toilet. I'll put you in the toilet.
I'm still dizzy. Wait, put me down.
Put her in the toilet. Give her a swirly.
Como mierda!
Goodbye.
Put me down! Hurry, push it! De pinga.
That's what you get, nerd! That's what you get, nerd!
Josie, I will step on you. And you're not in the
Oh.
Joke's on you, I fear nothing. Oh, man.
She
Good
getting the
times.
weapon?
Good times.
Oh no. Oh no, please.
She's bringing the bombs!
on you, bitches!
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
I am just part of the wall. You don't see me.
Hi.
I see you.
Is Lexi getting in?
If it's by Nini,
It's still getting stepped on? Sure, I am. Okay, get you guys' upgrades.
Can I have the strength? Can I have the
Yeah.
strength?
Let's see.
I'm stronger. Now other people become faster, better, faster, stronger.
Whatever.
You want to be fast, Josie?
I want to.
I want to be.
Oh,
I
I was
want to be
gonna.
harder.
I was gonna say. I was like, I want to do the harder part, but I kind of missing the parts for that. But yeah, sure. I will go
Yeah,
full
forget it.
Daft Punk.
It's over there.
You know what, Josie? Anything's possible with some duct tape in a dream.
That is true. That is very true. But I feel like that's gonna get me yelled at, so I will refrain from
No.
my duct tape appendage.
Wait, let me make something. Mods, the only copy pasta that anyone is ever allowed to paste in my chat is. Have you heard of the award-winning MMO Final Fantasy XIV with the award-winning expansion Heavenward, free up to level 70, and now including Stormblood? Start your free trial today with no time restrictions. If they do that, that is fine. Any other copy pastas get fucked.
That's fine. Yeah, I'll take the Vaporeon one then.
Josie, please accept it. It looks so funny. It looks so funny. She's like, please.
Just take my gift. So I'm taking a sprint speed upgrade. Am I E-ing?
Yeah.
Yee! Thank you, Markiplier. I hope I made you
That
proud.
was so funny. She was just standing there holding it.
One day, Josie.
Thank you for the follow. One for Miss E. One for Miss E. Oh my goodness. Miss E.
Yes, Miss E!
Hi, thank you for the follow.
Happy Wednesday,
I've
Miss
got to
E!
get my ad break module to work. It doesn't work.
Look, chat, you may think I'm all wholesome and cuteness and whatever else you want to say, but
She's actually the devil.
I swear to God, if she tells me
But-
she has a duct tape
Incarnate.
thing, I swear to God, I'm gonna scream.
Oh my goodness. Look at this.
Yeah,
look me in the eyes.
I am looking you in the eyes. How are you, sweetheart?
What is happening? I'm gonna go over here. I don't know what's happening over here. Ew, I don't like this area. What is this area? As they're having a powwow, I just
pick
see.
you up and hold
Oh.
you and let you
Oh.
rest on my lap.
I love this.
Jump scared something. Oh no, it's just a wall.
Oh, thank God.
Oh my god, what is this? Can I pick it up?
I love this. Ooh.
Oops. That lost like 1,000.
Ooh. All right, we'll just baby this
Okay.
shit.
Hold on.
Oh.
Oh, you mean it here? Yeah, look at the spider.
There's a monster that is spider-like, but it's like human-faced.
Hold on. There's something.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like a.
Is it going
like a
through?
human.
It is. That's what she
Literally right behind
said.
you. Careful.
We need a third arm, I think, to get the energy.
Let me move.
So,
closer.
so what if Nini has a hair up?
Oh,
All right, I think we got it.
She's allowed to have whatever
I
she
think we got it.
I think. Is it it?
We can
Yeah.
bring it.
That should just be carried.
We're really.
Yeah,
Let's just bring it to
bye.
extraction.
Yeah, let's just bring it.
Yeah, bye,
This
Jack.
shit's so big.
It's too big for the cart.
I'm walking backwards, so.
Rotate.
Rotato.
Potato.
Or maybe rotate.
Rotato.
Oh my god, why is it not?
There we go. There we
Because
go.
we're all
There we go.
There we go.
And now, like,
Force it in, chat. Force it in.
Just shove
Want
it
to
in
put it
there.
outside, or do you want to just throw it in there?
I think we
feel
just.
like-
I think we just put it
We
in.
could just start it. Yeah.
Okay.
Love beat music.
Make sure it's in all the way.
Gotta go fast. Gotta go fast.
All right. Drop it. Drop it.
Is there room for the cart? There's not going to be room for the cart though.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, we just gotta throw.
Oh,
like,
okay.
one
Okay.
thing in
We
there.
just need more stuff. Okay.
Yeah, throw one more
We
thing in
can
there.
fix it. When we get more stuff.
Hello.
Who's going to be the cart pusher? Because I'm not as you. If you haven't seen, I'm very good at. I'm not good at driving things in game.
Yeah. Look. Ball.
Ball.
There's a ball over here too.
I take the ball.
Globe.
very bad doing in video game things.
We have balls.
We
have balls. Or you can go
You
ahead.
have balls?
We have balls.
I didn't know you had balls.
There we go. Ha 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 ha.
That one's
ha.
done.
Ha ha ha. Okay. Do, do, do. There we go.
Here, we grab the money.
What are you doing here, Helldiver?
Okay, I'm gonna look for the.
No.
Oh. Oh no, it's the face hugger guy. There we
Okay,
go.
there's an eye in that room. Be careful.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, hello.
hello. That scared
As I
me.
just fling the door open and there's just
Sorry,
oh hi.
I see that there's something in here. I just don't.
Well, there was
see
a
what-
eye in that room.
Oh, it should go away.
Yeah, we just gotta let it despawn. Oh, this guy. Ah, hello.
Where's this yellow dot? Oh, it's this.
Fish thingy. There we go. Wherever the door.
I
Oh,
don't
the door's
remember.
right here. I see. I will. Boop 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 boop. All right, which door? Is it this door or that door? This door?
I don't remember where I put the cart. I told you guys, don't let me drive that thing.
Oh,
Wait,
here
it's
it
the
is.
big blue dot.
I never look at the map. I just let Jesus take the wheel. I
Carry it
just
over.
follow my heart of hearts. I trust the heart of the cards and I just go.
Oh, I see a big object up the hallway to
I
the
can't
left.
wait for you to meet the trudge, Josie. What is that? Oh, hey look, there's the human fighter.
We closed that door.
Josie's like, no.
We closed that door. Oh, well, never mind.
He's fine. Oh look, a cup.
Cuppa, 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 cuppa. What do you mean I have to sing the duck song? What is the duck song?
A duck locked up. Lemonade stand, and he said to the man.
Oh, is it the duck song about the
Hey, bum bum bum.
that
Got any
one
grapes?
with the grapes? Got any grapes? Is that the song we're talking about? That's the only duck song I know. Why do you guys want me to sing the duck song? What?
What duck song?
Apparently they're saying if we get the 5K, I have to sing the duck song. Why the fuck am I singing the duck song? Oh, there's a green plate.
Careful, she has a plate. She has
There's
a...
also
oh.
a green cup
Well.
under the bed in the room down this hallway. I have a green plate behind you. Don't smash it. Don't smash it. There's also a green cup. If you go 2 rooms ahead of you, there's also a green cup under the bed, but I could not carry both.
Ooh, big rhino. There's a big rhino.
It's an extraction.
Big rhino. Sting Raptor, thank you for the raid. Hi.
Long ago, there's a new duck song.
Thank you for the raid, Sting Raptor.
Alright,
Oh, you got
alright.
it? Wait, oh.
Where's extraction?
If you look,
Okay, I see it. I see it.
there's a lot of items.
There we go. You got this.
Fit in there. Might fall out.
But Sting Raptor, I hope you had a wonderful stream. Thank you, thank you. Enjoy some repo shenanigans.
Oh, there's so much stuff. There's
I
so
have
much stuff.
item.
I can't get through the door.
Hold on, I might have to bring that to extraction then. Let me just.
I don't think I want to go in here.
Do you
just
need
yet.
help or do you got it?
I hear
I
stomping.
can grab it. I have.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know where that is.
Shenanigans games?
I hear stomping.
Shenanigans? Hey, what shenanigans?
Shenamana.
I like that though. Josie chat
Phenomena.
clever. They're like shenanigans.
I will say they come up with some funny shit every so often.
That human-looking spider thing smacked me. It only
What a-
took like 10 health, but
What a bitch.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't hit you super hard, but
It's just annoying.
there's something.
heard
Do you see the thing in the?
something.
Oh, the green cup. It's still under the bed. I got it.
You got that one? Because I got the one that was in the chest here.
You don't
Oh
die.
crap! I hit it a little.
It's a beauty blemish.
Is there anything in that box?
I got the no, there wasn't anything in that one, sadly.
There's nothing.
Woo. Ooh, alcohol. Ooh, big. Alcohol, chat. Ow! As I dink it. Damn. I have alcohol. I bring expensive
Yes,
alcohol.
dear.
And there's a big ass trophy in here.
I'm trying to steer the cart that way.
Oh, you are good.
but
Take your time.
I'm bad at. I'm not good at cart driving.
Take your time. Nothing in here. Sad. What do we got? Huh.
I want to check this room over here where you're at. There's something big. What's over here?
It is the big ass
Oh.
trophy thingy.
Do we bring it to extraction?
I don't know, actually. It's a good question.
I don't think we'll be able to fit that in the cart.
Oh, the statue? No,
It's worth
that'll have to be
21,000.
carried. Yeah, that'll have to be carried.
All right. Where's Lexi?
I think she's on extraction.
I need her because she's got. Who else has a strength upgrade?
Laser guy! Laser guy! Laser guy!
Oh, fucking fuck.
Oh, shh. It can still hear you.
I think it might be gone.
I do need Lexi's help if we want to get the statue, though.
I think she may have died.
Oh, nope, he's still here.
What is it?
Laser man.
Laser man. Oh,
Oh, shh. It's line of sight. Just don't.
What a bitch he is.
He should go away. And you can dodge the lasers, but we gotta get the cart to extraction.
Yeah. Should we take what we have to extraction? That way, in case something terrible
I
happens.
mean, there's literally one more object in the statue.
Lexi.
Hello.
Lexi.
Hi.
It's safe.
Did you murder
I
the
was running
man?
around. I was running
Let's
around.
see. Do you want
There's
to
a
see if
laser-
they can?
Laser man.
Do you want to see if they can push the cart and we can carry the statue?
Yeah.
God,
Big money.
Godspeed.
Big money.
Money. Yes.
Godspeed.
Godspeed. I will guard.
Oh.
Okay.
There's a cop.
What? My bad.
Oh, you're fine.
Oh
What happened?
no. we what cup? There was
dropped
no
a
cup. I saw
cup.
no cup. There was no cup. It's fine.
There's a TV. I got a TV.
Okay.
You're just gonna have to walk with it. Really weird.
Laser man. Laser man. Laser
Hold
man.
on, the-
Drop in
Oh.
pipe. Drop in pipe. Drop in pipe. Drop in pipe.
Ow. Oh, hello, you little fucker.
Oh.
Ow. Can you like not, please, sir?
Get on my face.
Leave me alone, you little shit. God damn. God damn.
Yeah, just damn stuff.
Hello, Hunter Vanguard. Hello. That little fucker was being a bitch. Oh my god.
Oh yeah. He's annoying. I'm gonna bring this here in case the laser man comes.
Yeah.
That way he doesn't destroy it.
There we go. Ay, ay, ay. Alright.
There.
I will keep an eye out. I'm not sure where the fuck he went, but we're gonna go. Okay, nothing behind us. Hiya! Motherfucker! No, get down. Get down. No, the things, the man. I see the door. Are we free of spiders? Don't worry, Darth. There are no spiders here.
I
Spiderish.
heard him.
It won't
He
give you
was-
that much.
he was-
hit me for 10.
No, the laser guy was just over here.
Yep.
Ew.
I guess he just wanted to say hi.
The laser guy teleports.
Yes, Darth, I promise there are no spiders. There are other creatures here, but no
The
spiders.
weird creep.
Where are you going?
There's a monster
This
down
way,
this
this
hallway.
way.
We're going to have fun.
Yeah.
Extraction.
Oh, there's two of them. There's
Oh my lord. Oh, hello. Hello, Laser Man. Laser Man's coming. Laser Man's coming. The Laser Man.
Look up here, Woody. Woody, look up here.
There we go. Crunch.
Okay.
I'm pretty
Go
sure we
back.
can just like go to the next extraction with the cash. Unless we see anything.
Hello? Right here. Over here.
Laser guy! Laser guy!
As I see his lasers through the wall.
I'm up here, so I think it's okay.
Up where?
I'm up on a bookshelf, I think.
How'd you get up
Oh,
there?
you are. How'd you get up
I
there?
forgot, but yeah, you can jump. Okay, I see I see the old
The
extraction
lizard dude
with
is
the
down
cart.
there.
I'm gonna go find the extraction.
Careful. He's around here.
Doo-doo, doo-doo.
There's another way to get around.
He's over there, I think.
I'm just gonna follow along. Oh, hello.
Hello.
I think if you run, it'll be fine.
Yeah, as long as we know where we're going.
Oh my god, at the worst time. Okay.
Oh, we're at 2 out of 2. I'm done.
Okay.
Okay.
So, did it do
His
something?
eyeball.
Is it still
Yeah,
there?
it's gone.
Nah,
It's gone,
he.
it's gone.
Where am I going? What the heck?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, we gotta go through this door right there.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
Spider-Man. Oh, Spider-Face Man.
Bye bye.
Oh, hello.
Goodbye.
Oh, I. Ah! Stop it!
Uh-oh.
Stop it! Get away! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Help me!
Go
Help
small,
me!
go small, go small, go small, I can take you. Go small. Wait.
Press Q, press Q, press Q.
I'm
There you go, there
literally.
you go.
Oh no! Oh, I can't grab her! I can't grab her! Go small!
I did press Q!
Wait, grab her! Oh wait, oh wait.
Ay, ay, ay. Jeez Louise! My God!
I hate
Jeez
those.
Louise, he had a death grip on my dick! God! Let me go! Mecca, you...
me.
Okay,
No.
Mecca. You are like
you
a
have
game
no
late. You are a game
faith.
late. I
You
don't know
have
what your hard on is with me
no
dying
faith.
first, but I did not die first. So,
Mecca has no faith in you, man.
I know. I'm like, would you shut up? I did not die first. We already had this
You still haven't
happen.
died. Josie still hasn't died. Josie's pro gamer.
Jeez Louise. It's like, I knew she would die. I'll kill you myself. I'll kill you myself.
I was like,
Is the eye gone?
oh,
He's despawned.
it
Thank
will
God.
be- no, Josie is not. No, that's no.
Man, haters be hating.
Haters gonna hate. Too busy defending Super Earth. Man, fuck Super Earth.
Oh, Nini died. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
See? Oh! I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Y'all talking smack, so much smack.
I think Lexi went to go get her head.
Okay. I was gonna say, because I will run. I will go save Nini if need be.
Laser
Taters.
dude's out there.
Taters
right
be
outside the
tating.
ship.
True.
Oh, did Lexi die too?
Are you? Okay. All right.
Okay.
We go save.
Oh, Laser Man is like right there. Oh wait, the eyeball.
He's still there. Oh my! Doesn't he despawn?
He should, but since it's nighttime, it'd be a little. bit
Well,
trickier.
son of a bitch.
Oh, here comes Spider Face.
Well,
Like you, Spider Face.
man, are we even gonna be able to
No.
save them?
I don't know.
I say
think we
leave them.
don't.
Oh no, we leave no warrior behind.
I mean, it's okay if we leave them here, since we got all extraction. Stop. Stop.
Are you for real, these? Can you like stop kissing me, bro? I don't want you. Bruh.
Oh God.
Oh, hello, laser man.
What? Why are you kicking me? What did I do?
What the hell?
Stop it!
No! No! Well then, we leave. How do I leave? That's the question, is how do I leave? How the fuck do I get out of here? Is the real question. That's the real question, chat. You gotta go. I don't know how we go. We gotta go. How the fuck do we leave? How the fuck do we leave? She doesn't know. I've never played this game! The bar under the screen. I was like, I see this. Oh, I see. There we go. Cool. We good. I'm gonna head up. Thank you, Quack. Thank you.
I looked at you and was like,
It was staring at Joey's time. Decided to do a full.
Yeah, he was just like,
Stop being
Appreciate it. Thank you for praising the skunk, man. Appreciate it.
Goodbye,
Sorry, my,
Quack. Thank you.
My totally not a cult are busy praising me.
What did I do?
Yeah, apparently they were like throwing so much shade. They're like, everyone's just like wanting me to die. I'm like, what's happening here? Why do people want me to die,
I keep
chat?
telling them
That's
you're
so
like a pro
mean.
gamer. They don't.
If you're a true Fortis fan, you want all Fortis to live. If you don't, I will kill you
that's
myself.
that.
Here, I'll give
I
you
want
the
to
gun
see.
do it.
I would like to see more man.
A trank gun? We have a gun?
Okay,
yes,
who-
more men, I love FORTIS.
Who does
Yeah.
not have a strength upgrade yet?
Oh no. Hey, I gave you the gun. Don't shoot
Oh
me.
no. Oh no.
We got
Oh, no.
58k.
This aim is like
Terrible.
terrible.
She got a trank gun.
One, who's good with weapons? Two,
Uh,
who doesn't have a strength
I'm
upgrade?
not good.
This aim is
Someone-
like
someone-
terrible.
I believe that. Yeah, more man. I love Fortis. More man. I love Fortis. More.
Can I self shoot?
Type it in chat. Type it in
Can
chat.
can I
You
persona
can.
myself?
You can. Yes. You have to,
Can I persona myself?
There it is.
There we
Jesus
go.
fucking Christ.
Oh
Yeah,
god. Okay,
yeah.
I gotta
you have to like awkwardly...
persona.
Josie,
Yes.
at this time, you may not persona yourself. Please exit the bubble. It is unsafe for humans.
Bubble these nuts.
Human
Sorry, I have the
beings
brain
need
of like a
oxygen
5-year-old
to live.
sometimes.
Please leave the persona bubble.
No! No! Okay, wait, what are we...
I'm just gonna. Does someone want to upgrade their strength
Ah!
and maybe? I don't know.
we do
I'm gonna.
strength.
I have one
can
health,
also
so I'm gonna
do-
steal this bad boy.
I have 28 health.
I
I've
have
got
one.
I'm
What
gonna steal
happened?
this big one.
Oh,
and hope
I
that
know what
helps.
happened.
Take it.
I got curb stomped.
I
That's
know.
what happened.
Yeah, we both got smacked around by the clown.
Whoa, whoa.
There's no health
think-
upgrades. I think we should. Someone upgrade their strength, and then
What did I do to deserve?
I
being
saw a
curb
strength.
stomped?
Did someone already put it in the thingy?
Yeah, I did. And then we could do a stamina. I would like this.
I wouldn't mind a sprint speed too. Can we do that?
Oh,
Yeah.
my bad. I didn't think you would walk into that. I was just doing I was doing my windmill dick thing. I was just
You windmilling over there?
there was a sword. Apparently, I realized the physics on this. It's like wee.
It's alright. Swing that sword. We've still got one.
Helicopter, helicopter. Yeah.
Range? Do we put range in there?
Helicopter.
Helicopter, helicopter.
We'll do range. We can do range. Any weapons?
Gino, what the fuck? And thank you for making the bits full. You guys are fucking awesome.
Oh, there's a dead man here.
Paths.
I just realized this guy's dead. Damn. Rest in peace.
Rip.
Rip and tear.
Who are we ripping?
This
Who's
poor
dead?
man. Every part-time retail worker. This is our life. This is our our destiny.
You're inside.
Goodbye. Oh, I missed. I can't. Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Do we need Skaward?
Was that the one?
Do we
Do
want
we need what?
anything? Anything else?
What's
Anything
small?
in the ceiling?
What does the energy
small?
crystal do?
What's
Just
small?
literally
If
energy?
you have so any of the devices like weapons and things like that, they consume energy. You have to go back to the truck to
There you
charge
go.
them, or you can use an energy crystal.
What do you see? Up there.
Fun to play. I found fun to play.
Okay.
I found a fun toy.
I mean, we can get a couple more stamina upgrades so everyone has stamina. They're
You can do that.
3K.
What are you doing, Josie?
It makes funny noise when you hit it. So I'm being like that 5-year-old that learns that things make sounds and you're just like hitting stuff on your crib. You know,
You
Give all
guys
the
are really
stamina.
making me feel like the aunt right now, and I don't know.
and I laugh
I'm
because it's
okay,
like
kids,
I'm
let's
not a
get
child.
upgrades.
I'm not a child, but for some reason like certain things just kind of like send me back, you know? I have that Ratatouille moment.
I think that is normal.
This game gives me
Let's get-
Ratatouille
you know
things.
what? We've got enough for 2 sprint skis. Let's just get fucking upgraded. Let's upgrade
Yeah.
Yeah.
this bitch. Let's go.
Heck yeah.
Okay, we still got. That's 52 out of 58K. Let's save a bit.
Can we make a funny noise? Wait, can we make the funny noise a redeem somehow? The crystal bonk?
The crystal ball.
Yeah, I'll just have to go find the I'll go find the music, the sound file, I'm sure.
It's like, are my Gen Mage children? No.
No.
Am I like, let's get upgrades? Bonk. I'm like,
Bonk.
When you are the baby of a family,
Wait,
and I have
let me
older
get the-
siblings, like I may not be a child anymore. I'm a grown-ass woman, but I still have my baby of the family moment. Ow, ow, ow.
Oh, no,
it's okay.
Ow,
It's okay.
ow, ow, Ow. Ow. Ow.
Thank you for the $5. Oh no! Guys, I gotta spin my wheel. I gotta spin my wheel. And I hope to God. Okay, so if it's a song or if it's a prank call, we're not doing it.
I hope she turns around and knows we're dead.
Well,
if it's a bean, I'm gonna cry. I did not kill Josie. I'm not here. How do they all just die? Oh, fuck. It's in the hot sauce. Just so you guys
I don't know how I died, I'm gonna be honest.
Hot One's last dab hot sauce.
yeah, baby.
It's because I left the stun mine on. Oops.
Yeah, it's not that bad. It's a million sold.
You know, it happens.
I think she has to buy something. Yeah, just to buy something.
But, oh god, I got
Or
it on my
she
sweatshirt.
could put us on a ship.
Yes, remember, stack up. Yeah,
Stack up,
stack up.
please.
Thank you,
Stack up.
Darth. Thank you, Darth, the homies. Thank you, chat. Yes, while donating to us is great. Donating to the charity is like even better.
I don't like that. It's
Also share it, please.
Yeah,
Share it around.
share.
I guess
Donate. Charity
not gonna be able
is
to do both.
important.
Oh,
can I?
well,
Yeah, they go one health.
Crap! I hit R instead of B.
oh, hello, 28
work.
health.
Hi.
We got this at one health.
It's
We got
fine.
it.
I can.
Baby.
We can rub your. I can rub your back.
So I'm used to living off of like 0% and kicking booty. It's fine.
I'm
It's
sorry.
fine.
I just had some last dab hot sauce for a good cause. Thank you for donating to Stack Up. I think if I have soda, it like won't taste good right now.
Probably not.
So if you don't have a strength upgrade,
Yeah, who
I
doesn't
would
have a
suggest,
strength? I have.
grab one of those. I'm gonna grab the sprint speed if that's cool
There's
with
an
people.
oops. Who wants a strength upgrade?
I will take a strength upgrade.
Here you go. Right here.
But
No,
I
okay,
got,
here
I
you go.
don't
There
have
we
a
go.
now. Oh, I do
You
have a
grab
napkin.
it.
I got some of this hot sauce
You
on
grab
my
it.
Oh, I grabbed
very
one.
nice red sauce.
I grabbed one that was
hoodie.
over here on the thing, so
Okay.
you are welcome to take
and on my
it.
hands, and I don't want to rub my face.
Okay.
Let's
Ellie, do you
squeeze.
have
Thank
one?
you for the
I
follow.
wouldn't say
There you
that
go.
my tongue is suffering. It's not suffering. So the only time I've really suffered with this hot sauce is like I did it once. Like, oh, I did it for charity. I was like, oh, every $20 I'll take a tablespoon of hot sauce. And when it got to like someone donated like $100, I did like 5 in a
What hot
row.
sauce is it?
Hot One's last dab hot sauce.
Oh
it's pepper.
no.
You know how I am about spice. I have a
have, like,
very high
these
spice
mini-
tolerance.
I like these mini packed hot sauces. And one is called Asblaster.
my
Yeah, that one's fun.
90. 90.
Several times.
But
All right, I'm gonna have to say it like
pepper.
prayers for
Okay,
knee.
but there was one point where I
There we
did
go.
like I had to do like 10 like spoonfuls in a row, and it wasn't. It's like my face went numb, and that was fine. My tongue went numb.
I love numbness.
That was fine.
That numbness is great.
And then I spun the wheel again, and I got a karaoke song, and I was like, I just had like 10 spoonfuls of hot sauce, and then I had to stop doing it because it was giving me like abdominal pains.
W.
Okay, who has like no fucking house?
All of us.
Come here,
I think
Josie, please turn
Josie
around.
has 28.
I'd like to give you some platonic back rubs.
Thanks, man. Hey, I appreciate that, homie. I appreciate that.
All right, I'm at 50. How much you got, Lexi?
I have 1. You can just give me 10. That'll be fine. Okay. Thank you.
Did someone want a stamina upgrade?
I am good.
I have
I got
1
one last
stamina.
time. Okay.
I'll do it then. I'm like, fuck it.
Because I grabbed
Well.
one earlier, so
Well.
I'm Gucci. So I think we are about as good as
You
we're
ready?
gonna be. Yeah.
Alright.
God help us.
The bomb hot sauce. I have had it. It's actually, so here's a funny thing about hot ones. Bomb sauce is actually, they've done some chemical testing on the hot sauces itself because it's different than doing testing on peppers. The bomb hot sauce that they use during hot ones is actually spicier than the last dab, and that's why so many people react so strongly at that point. But it has a higher Scoville rating.
See, funny thing is, like, the heat is never really the part that scares me. It's that, like, hot sauce, for some reason,
It's
really
okay.
upsets my
You
stomach
first.
once
Well,
it
that's what
actually
I'm
gets into my
saying.
gut.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. It's like I'm okay with spice, but if I have a lot, I have to have a lot of it. But I was getting like, you know, like when people like have the severe abdominal pains and they're like, I think you should go to the emergency room. I was like, I think I should stop.
Yeah, that's like
stop.
me. I don't like it. It hurts my
I'm not-
tummy tum
I'm not like
tum.
a baby about pain. And I remember like telling people, I was like, guys, so my stomach hurts like.
Like, Chop may joke that I'm a masochist, but there are certain pains I do not accept, and stomach
No,
pain is not one of them. I'm a baby bitch with that
After
shit.
that charity event, I literally like curled up in my bed and all night I was like,
Oh,
like,
we got a
it was
PC
just
tower. Gamers! Gamers!
vase and green cup.
Oh, fuck.
Am I strong enough to lift this?
I got a PC tower. Chat, am I a true gamer now? Is this the 4090? Is this the 5070? Is this the new thing? Please?
The
Go to
5000 series is a lie. Josie, where are you? I've got an expensive vase.
Let me help with the vase. Okay.
It's a very fancy vase.
And I'm trying to be slow so I don't dick
You can
swing this
also,
everywhere.
Scroll wheel like towards yourself.
True. All right, where?
Watch out. We've got a vase here.
We have a
Is us?
vase.
I have something too.
Oh,
Is it in the? I can't see. Is it in the car?
I know, right? I'm like, nope, it is not. Okay.
Okay.
There we
Just
go.
There was also a green cup in there. I'm gonna grab it.
I hear spooky
The
music.
spooky monk music. Okay, let me grab the ring.
I mean, the mouth pan. I can tell what this is. Oh. Oh no, the face hugger man. Oh no. How do we get rid of it?
Oh
Does he just let go
no!
after a while?
Hide. Yeah, I would hide if I were you, little. There's none.
Oh, whoa. There's another man. There's a man.
Yep, there's a none.
There's a man. Also, what do you mean low red graphics? I love red. I love my red 40. Man.
Yeah, come back. Come back. No, don't run away. Come back. Yeah, come back. Come back. I'll puke all over you.
Yeah, fuck them up. Fuck him up. Fuck him up.
Yeah.
Why does he sound like a bird? I'm just like watching this happen.
Come back. Ah!
Well
Come
then,
back.
I'm just
It's
waiting.
gone. My buddy left.
Are we Gucci?
She's in that room, the robe.
Yeah. Oh god, there's another guy.
No.
I don't want a face hugger.
No. It's the same one.
Oh my god. I don't want face hugger, no.
It's
The robe
it's
is
the
in
same
there, right?
one.
Do not give me face hugger,
yeah.
please.
I puked
Who's
on her a
watching?
little bit.
I
saw
like that you can self-destruct. That's funny.
Yeah, I puked on her a little bit.
So, man. Let's see. Huh. It's like, I guess I'll
Let's back
just...
at the start. Let's see.
Oh, it's the little.
Oh, it's that
It's a
thing.
dude.
It's the chicken. It's a chicken.
Is he chill? Is he a chill chicken?
No, you gotta like. He'll just drag you.
Oh, I don't want to be dragged by the chicken. So. Oh, he
Is
got...
there one that likes being looked
Damn,
at
he
you or
thick
something?
AF, bro. Damn.
His name is Bowtie.
Hi, Bowtie. That face is concerning.
He's got a little flappy booty.
Oh no.
Hi. Oh
Let's
look, there's
have a
my face
fight.
hugger. I think he responds to your voice.
I wasn't sure
Yeah,
about
'cause he keeps
that.
stopping.
Come here, my friend. Blech.
Hello?
just random projectile vomit. It's fine.
Oh!
Hello. Come here. Why?
Yeah, spit on it.
Yeah. Don't look from here.
Yeah, he died. Let's
Yeah,
go.
we did it.
All right, I'll take his
Where'd
little
his ball
soul.
go?
Behind you.
We got it.
Be very careful. It's fragile. Oh no!
Bruh. Like, you're not joking. I literally just touched the side. Not even. Okay, well.
It's okay.
That's
Yeah,
so
the-
annoying.
The
Well,
monsters
then.
are very fragile.
Apparently so. I have learned you can't touch them at all.
Okay.
Welcome
Where'd
back.
Nini go?
Did she die?
Hey, where'd she go?
I don't know.
Nini!
Nini.
Oh no, face hugger.
He's coming for you, Josie.
Too bad. I say fuck you. What's in here? No, that was not a rando. That was Lexi with the face hugger. Let's see, what do we got in here?
Oh my god, I should not push this way. No, did you guys find Nini?
No, not yet. I'm not sure if she died. We're gonna find stuff, chat. Bathroom? Nothing in the bathroom. Man, there's like nothing. Whole lot of nothing. Oh, what do we got here? Oh, this looks promising. Ooh, ooh. What is this? What is this? Anything in here? Anything cool? No. Nothing. Alright, that voice changer is serious, Lamau. Oh, I know. Yeah, the voice changer is very weird at first. You can definitely confuse if you've never heard it. I'm actually kind of scared to hear what my voice sounds like with the face hugger voice changer. I have not found anything in here. Oh,
That's it.
well then.
That's it. There you
Found
go.
it.
That's our extract.
All right. Well, unintentionally found that.
I'll go put stuff in there.
Let me see. Is there anything up here? Nothing up here. Sad.
I have a bottle thingy.
Oh, nice. Close this.
Is this juice?
I mean, true, it is light enough. Bye, Josie. Bye, Josie.
Oh, I was closing
there's
this
something
one
in this
so I
room.
could close the other door. Oh, hello.
Oh,
Something in this room.
What happened?
Scary sheltered what is he called? The thing that literally looks like no face.
Oh!
That guy. I'm just gonna go right here, chat. I'm just gonna go right here. Like if it loves a bit of space, you know, hence why the sailors absolutely love you. True.
Oh my god.
Is he gone yet? Oh,
The robe is she's in that room. Be careful.
yeah. I'm gonna close this door.
Go underneath the table. She can open it. Yeah, run, run.
Where are you?
Oh.
Are you good?
I tried to kill the monster. It did not work.
I guess I'm glad I didn't try.
Oh my god.
No. Well, okay.
Josie?
Well then. Well then. Big oof. I got sentenced to my death, unfortunately. Anyway. Oh, rest in peace. Rest in peace. We tried, chat. We tried. Well then. Big oof. Big oof. You can do it with two people. I don't know. I was like, wait, I have no clue what they're talking about. Oh, that's right. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. I do not know what you speak of. Unfortunate. Unfortunate.
God dang it. Okay. The heck?
Oh, welcome. Welcome. I got cornered and then it wouldn't let me go back under, and then when I finally got back under, it's like, oh, joke's on you, bitch, I can go down too. I'm like, oh,
Look in the
well,
face.
shit.
You're fine.
Ah,
Yeah, it was
we
it
tried.
was just camping where we were at, so I was like, oh, I can't move
Wait,
anywhere.
did they die?
I think
Well, thank you for Battleship Head Pass. Your
see
girl
a-
needs it.
A salute
Goddamn.
to Lex in the chat.
Goddamn.
Yeah, I think.
She's in the next room. Don't look at her. Don't look at her. Don't look at her.
Spam, rip,
You can do it to
Lexi,
people
and
if
rip
one person has two
Josie.
strings.
Everyone say
We
rip
also don't have
Lexi and
any-
Josie.
Wait.
So that way they know.
We don't have enough for extraction.
And thank you for Stretch.
No.
Yeah, I don't have enough strength to kill
There's a
the
small
robe.
option in the next room, but it's in the next room. We could try to bring the cart to the terminal.
I don't see her. I think she went into a different room.
I don't know. Nope. Rip Josie. Rip. They're dead.
Yep, see, I was like, let them know. Let them know we're dead so they don't waste time trying to find us.
I think they died
There's
over
some-
here.
There's something. Yeah, if we can
There's
try to
also
find their
there's a
heads.
PC
that'd be
thing
cool.
right there in the corner.
Yeah, I can.
Thanks,
probably
chat.
carry that.
And thank you for hydrate. I am drinking Vita Coco,
Let's see.
which is coconut water.
Ooh,
It's
Vita Coco.
it's water enough,
Yummy.
chat.
Here's extraction over here.
I have been very obsessed with these. They have these like Vita Coco
Yeah, it's in the
treats,
snow room. Okay, there's
I'm
like
just-
and they have like orange and
Look, this
cream
guy's
and
right
this
there
like
behind the-
strawberry berry
table.
thing. It's so fucking good. Oh my god, I'm
I've
obsessed.
only had like the regular
Same.
one.
like
Same. So I was like, I saw it and it was like two for something at Target, and I was like, you know what? I'll try it. This shit's good. It's so
Where's
good. Oh my
Josie's
god, it's like
at?
juice.
It might be.
I'll try it.
I'm
whenever
under
I
a
see it.
chair, Allie. I'm under a chair.
Might be in the other
Oh, in the other room, right?
room.
Yeah.
Over here.
I definitely was near the
Over
snow.
this side, this one.
I'm under a chair
This is-
somewhere.
Oh, there you are.
Yep. I was like, I'm under a chair. I tried to hide.
A red blob.
They hunted me down.
They
They wanted the booty.
The Josie head.
I got
Just gotta be super careful now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back for the. I'm gonna go try this one.
Jump. There we go. Uh-oh.
Ruh-roh.
Here's
Heard that.
What does this sound like?
Small mode.
Now I want to see what that makes all the voice, the TTS say. Let's see.
Are you testing out the?
Yeah, I want to see what it sounds like. Ah, it says it correctly. Let's go.
Yeah, I tested it out. I think Nini's name
I have
does
to
not
do
come out.
N-E-E.
Nini.
I have to literally do it so, like, pronunciationally correct.
There you go. Yeah, that's normal.
Nini.
I love the dramatic breaks in between each word. It's just like...
Oh, it's that thing. Okay.
No, don't do it. I don't want a friend on my face.
Cuba. That sounded so German. Cubas.
Goobas.
Cuba.
Goobas. Don't make me glorp you. Oh no.
No, leave me alone.
Don't make me glorp you.
Where Nini
Bitch,
go?
I wish you would. You won't. You won't, you coward.
Nini have the cart.
How could you say
I
that?
see her moving.
Don't you want to be a goofy goober? Yeah, I'm a goofy goober. Yeah, you're a goofy goober. Yeah, we're all goofy goober.
Oh, there's a cart. Okay. Oh no.
No.
Oh, I'll just be nice to you guys. I'll be nice, chat. For whatever that's worth. Tempting. Tempting.
Donated $10 today. Oh, nice. That's
Coward.
Leave me alone, please. Go away. Allie. Nini.
Oh, there's a face hugger. There's a face hugger.
Yep.
Face hugger. Face hugger. Face hugger. Get it off me. Get it off me. Get it off me. Please get it off me.
I'm trying.
Just yoink.
You can grab it.
yeet me.
I can't.
Punch it.
I'm trying.
He
gotta
just
go small,
wants
small.
to love
You know what? I am small. I was gonna say, can we try to lift? I can't find anything else. Can we try? I don't care. I'll die. Can we try to lift this
Oh god.
before I do?
Oh, no.
Can we get it into the cart?
It might have been
I'll
against the
sacrifice my
extraction.
to try to get into the cart for you,
There
and
we
then
go.
it's up to you. It's on the cart.
my
It's on
goodness.
the cart.
Well,
I don't
press
think you
Q,
have-
press Q.
It's just projectile vomit. It's just like, it's up to you.
Can you get it off my face? Nope. Should I run to extraction?
Oh
Oh
I found the next extraction. I'm gonna run to it actually.
no! Ripperoni!
No.
Oh god.
Oh no!
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. She's got a cart. She's got a cart. I had a face hugger on my face anyway, but she's got the cart. Oh no, she died too.
no!
Yeah, we all died.
Allie, how did you die?
You
You threw
killed
up on
me.
her!
You threw up on me.
Oh yes! Yes! Battle Royale!
Oh my god. What's a gun? What the heck? What's a gun? Ah! Oh. Please. I have a sledgehammer.
I have to be strong, chat. We have to blood sport.
Josie.
Yeah!
Yes. King of the losers.
Blood sport! Blood
Let's go.
sport!
Let's fucking go.
My practice in Oblivion came out on top, chat. Just button mash and you win.
We didn't do bad.
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
I was
bad, not
really
bad.
so. I had this stupid face hugger, and I was like, "Well, I'm gonna die."
Oh, we watched.
let's
It was
ju-
grand.
Let's just, well, I was like, Allie, let's just try to get the terminal into the cart, and I'll run to the extraction point. But I guess I hurt too much.
Yeah.
The projectile vomit just could not control itself. It just wanted to be with Allie
we
so
didn't
much.
have enough money.
Thank you for the follow, Phantom Void Bot.
We didn't
Yeah.
have enough money.
There was
Thanks,
a lot of
homie.
items on top of the rafters in the snow room I was trying to get.
Goddamn. Do we want to do one more game?
There's some fun stuff. One more.
One more,
round?
or are you
One more
guys
round?
good?
One
Do
more
more?
round?
One more?
One more
down.
round?
Do one
One more?
more.
I'll fuck around, find out.
Yeah.
Do a few
You,
ones.
you know, we faffle. We faffle. Okay, we faffle.
We're ready.
We
We're
faffle.
more than 10 seconds. Then I'll say
faffle.
it won't get you demonetized. I waited like 2 minutes even before I swore. I think.
Shit, I swear
At
all the
least.
time. It don't matter.
I try to not do it like in the first little bit.
Yeah. True. Very fair. Why do you think I have such a long just starting?
Yeah, if the first if you got like 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Good, right?
See, there's a strap behind it. Trust.
I know, right?
minute.
Hello?
Oh, there's a diamond.
Already open.
Ooh,
I have a
there's
diamond.
a.
Both of these doors are already open. I don't like that.
Watch.
That concerns me.
Watch out. Okay, go.
That makes me worry.
You're like, why is the door
makes
already
sense
open?
too.
It's like somebody was here to welcome me. I did not want a welcome party.
No.
Let's get all the money.
Oh, there's something up here.
Oh, gnomes! Not the
Oh,
gnomes!
motherfucker.
Ow!
Get out of here, bitch. Ah! Hey!
What was it?
God damn it.
It's a gnome!
Hey, Josie's not a gnome.
Don't smack my ankles!
Wait, who said
Contrary
I'm a
to popular
gnome?
belief,
Who said I'm a gnome?
She's not a gnome.
Who said I'm a gnome?
Sorry, getting smacked around.
Who said I'm a gnome?
Oh,
Oh, it's Trudge! Oh, it's Trudge! It's Trudge! It's Trudge! It's Trudge!
What is that?
Who the fuck said I'm a gnome? Who
No
are-
wonder the doors were open already.
What was it?
It's Trudge.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Wait, did someone die?
Is this something we put in the thing?
I don't know.
Oh no, I just ripped off the door.
Oh.
I think Nini may have died.
You
Well.
dead?
Gnome 62. I swear to God, I will punt all of you, chat. Do not call me a gnome.
Yeah, football punt him.
I have guns for days. You'll learn about Gnome 62 real fast.
Oh, there's a thing over there.
There is a Benzinmaker dance. Hey, Benzinmaker dance. Very loud car. I swear, the one thing I will say about living in California, everyone has very loud vehicles. Oh, we just lift this bad boy. Okay. Ooh. I'm trying. I don't know where door is, so I'm hoping I... Wait, where is door? Am I in door frame?
Straight back.
Sweet!
Straight back.
Sweet! Oh. There we go. Da 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 da. Ugh. There's so many projectiles in the way. Let me place it down for a sec. Oh, bruh. Okay, this is a wall. Yeah, where's the thing? We'll bring the thing. I wish I could move tables. Here, I will
I know.
grab
Oh,
the
there's a thing in the
thingy.
fridge.
I'll grab this guy. Come here, you. Come here, you. No, not that. Let's make her dance. Hey. Ooh. There we go. All right. Let's lift this guy. There we go. And then Taperoni. Ah, bruh. There we go. Okay.
Where did they go?
I don't know. I'm gonna take this guy back out here.
Oh, someone died.
Oh, I think that might have been Nini.
Oh shit!
Oh,
he's coming! He's coming!
goddamn.
Hi, puppy.
Oh.
Pause. What do you mean pause? No, stop. Not like that, Cat. God.
Oh. He's so big.
Oh, I see Lexi with Nini's head.
Okay.
He's
going over there,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's going towards extraction.
I guess we're good then?
Well, not
He might turn
entirely.
around, yeah.
Hmm. I'm gonna at least go in here, away from it. Let's see if we can find stuff while he's wandering around. No, I'm not a gnome! I will gnome all of you. Apparently I'm Gnomey 62. Well.
Well, at least he's that way.
True.
No, he's just going straight over to extraction.
Well, he can hang out in extraction all he wants. For now.
We will...
Queen, you dropped this. You dropped your crown, ma'am. Fuck you. Stupid gnome. Let's see, we got $594. I'm a homie. I'm just a homie. I'm not a gnomey. Oh, hello, buddy. The man is here. The man is here. Probably lost money doing that, but I don't care. Is he back? Is he back? Is he back?
Hello. Is Allie in there?
No, but the monster's in there. I'm gonna take this and take it to extraction.
Okay. Allie.
That way we don't
Allie.
lose shit. Now that he's not near extraction.
Is she all the way over there?
Ta-da! Okay. Alright. They take our goodies. Welcome back!
Send me a pay, please.
Welcome back. We got some jobs for you.
I have one health and a dream.
Hey. Yeah,
Oh,
Mr.
no.
Monster Man
Let's
is
go.
wandering around a lot.
Gnomes! Ah! Gnomes! Leave me alone!
Oh my god, I'm trying to grab it. Hello? Hello, friend. Careful!
Get out of here.
Okay, we should be good. Now we can go
Alright.
back.
Oh, there's another
Does
one.
anyone have any spare health? I have one health.
I can heal you.
Oh my god, why are there so many?
How do I spare some health?
You rub someone's back.
Why are there so
Thank
many?
you,
There
thank
you
you,
go.
thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
What is your
Thank
health
you,
at?
thank
Are
you.
you good?
What happened?
I'm
Oh,
good,
so
yeah.
you are.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
we can go back.
Gotcha.
We can go back. Let's go, let's go.
Oh my god,
Oh.
where are you all coming from?
Oh, man is here.
Let's
Man
go.
is here. Man is here. Man is here. Man is here.
Run.
Man is here. We at least got something.
Ugh.
Let's see.
Get the fuck out of here.
Oh my god.
I don't like big man.
Wait, was it the or was it the shotgun guy?
It was the big dude with the big ol' fucking
it's
spiky thing.
Little trench, yeah.
Yeah.
Would be able to
That's
develop
right.
a skunk capable of spelling tear gas. Probably.
What in the world?
We'll talk to our technicians. I've been trying to explain that my skunks do not spray stink. They are bioengineered skunks.
Hey,
Bioengineered stuff.
we have the technology.
Oh no.
My
Oh,
ears.
my eyes.
Ah, tinnitus.
I love ooh, valuable tracker. Ooh, hold on. My valuable tracker. Wait, it's finding something. It's finding something. Oh, it's all because you.
Strength.
It's because you guys are all here. You are all so valuable.
Aw.
What if a true journey is the friends we made along
Ah!
The one piece is the friendship we made on the way. Let's go. Well, let's be a deer and so urchin human making certain type gas. Riz. Is that your Riz, Josie?
No, I was
is
just being a goober.
Your chat's saying Riz.
Are you sure? I think it is.
I'm not actually trying. Like, bro, I don't want to try to riz. That would be awkward. I don't want to riz anybody.
You know what? I feel like low key. I feel like you got like that accidental awkward Riz.
No,
where
I
you
just
don't know that
She
you're,
does.
no.
No!
You know what I'm trying to say? Like, where you
Yes.
don't know that you're like flirting or rizzing someone,
No.
and then
Oh,
they're
no.
like, you know what? She's cute.
Oh no.
I'm
She's- I
dying.
can help you.
I'm dying. I'm
trying.
dying.
Oh, no,
I'm dying.
There,
Thank you.
saved you.
Thank you.
Of course,
Well,
of course.
I keep my riz contained for the sake of chat.
No. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know when someone's like so awkward that it's very cute.
Are you saying I'm like what is it, like the Disney princesses where they're like she's just so quirky?
It's nothing. I'm not speaking from my personal experience or anything. It's
Totally.
It's like you just rant about your special interest, and some guy was like, you know what? That's kind of cute. you just find some dude you can like rant about Sonic to, and he's like, she's the one.
Damn, she likes Sonic. Fuck. Josie doesn't need to try. She just does it naturally. No, what? No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like that accidental riz.
I blame my brothers then. I don't know. I hung out with guys too much.
Yeah, but a lot of guys like that. You do realize like the more you assert your tomboyness, the more the tomboy lovers are gonna be like,
Oh
"What's up?"
no, so I have to become super do I have to do a super girly phase chat where all of a sudden I have to beg Admiral to like change my whole and be like I have to be girly now. We have to be super feminine.
Yeah, make yourself pink.
Yes.
Really? I missed
Yes,
some
Queen
chat.
Valley.
Hold on.
Yes, I am in Cali now, so I could be a
And
Valley
like,
girl.
Oh my god.
Oh my
guys,
God.
welcome to my oh my god, guys.
I don't think I could I don't think I could do that with a straight face. I think
You've
I could
never had tacos
No.
until you've had them in
Tacos.
You know what else? Do you
Oh, the
want to go get? Hey, Josie, do you
My
want to go
ad
get
thing
some
isn't
green
automated,
juice
it's
with
not
turmeric
actually-
and ginger? It's really good for your immune system. Yeah.
Yeah. I will osh you no matter what face you take. Oh my god, fucking skinwalker. No matter what, you'll love all my skinwalkers. I'm so appreciative. Thank you, Chad, for loving all versions of me. Real or otherwise.
My Oshi is Glorpy.
No.
Glorpsy.
Glorpy.
Glorpsy.
Why? Who hurt
Glorpsy is
you?
my Oshi.
Why? Please no. Please, for the love of God. Valley girl grates my ears. I feel your pain. It's okay. I live here now. This is my life.
I'm sorry. I'm
Oh my
sorry.
goodness.
But I have to troll my Josies.
Yeah.
I gotta troll the JoJos.
Gosh.
Did we
Yeah, but
get
don't
Do we need anything else
Yeah.
actually in actual game?
let's
not in
see.
Minecraft.
No.
How do I? No!
I got some. I
What
got
the
some
fuck is
upgrades.
happening? Oh, I'm
I
safe.
was trying to like.
Oh, I'm safe. Oh, I'm good. For the love of God.
Ladies.
I'm like 55 health. Dear
a
God.
southerner? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
southerner.
how are you there?
It was like
How
the South comes out when I get
Oh.
angry, but it's okay.
Josie. You know what would be really awful if I
good?
said to you,
No.
What
What?
happened?
well, sweetheart, bless your
Oh,
heart.
sweetheart, bless your heart. Oh my God,
bless
you
your
little
heart.
thing. It's so
no.
sweet. Oh, bless your heart, I think I'm too close to like to what is it
You're like, "That
to
hurts me
Georgia.
inside. Stop.
Hey, when you're from Florida, you're near the Georgians and the good old boy accent. It can't.
Girl, like when I was down there for like almost a decade. I lived near Miami. That's
they got the Miami though. That's different. That's like a whole different type of Southern.
It's different. Okay, so this is what they say about Florida for people who don't know. The further north you go, the further south you go.
True. It's true. It's true.
Awesome.
Darling in Southern accent, that's a wombo combo. You guys actually
Wombo
like that shit?
combo, yeah.
Wombo combo.
From the southern part of
I'm upgrading my strength.
Is it we got the all? I think we touched like all spectrums of this old US of A.
Yeah.
We got the southern, the Georgia Floridian.
I mean, technically, you could just call me like
the East Coast.
average city woman.
Yeah, we have the East Coast and the West Coast. I don't have a West Coast
average
accent.
East Coast city lady.
City lady. nah.
Yeah,
It's true though. I've spent most of my life living in large cities. I bounced between 2 large cities on the East Coast my whole life.
She's a nomad, chat.
Way too many
Yeah, and then after uni, I moved down to Florida because people already know this. I'm half Cuban, so yes, I have fucking family in Florida. Like,
how do you do your cooking measurements? With love. You just you eye that bitch.
I use a scale and I actually use the metric system, but that's
the metric system, chat.
I was a chef for 10 years. When you work in a commercial kitchen, use the metric system, use a scale, Josie.
I'm Chef Boyardee, you are chef.
For baking. This is for baking. This is specifically for baking.
I mean, I do love baking.
With baking and in a commercial kitchen, most people will use the metric system in a large commercial kitchen because you're making large batches of food.
Yeah. Chad, chill with the kilometers. I know you're used to freedom units, but that's okay. It's okay. Kilometers are a thing.
Yes. I like thought so. Exactly. You eye it when you cook. You measure when you bake. And the other thing when you cook is to make sure I always have like clean spoons.
Yes.
So that I can taste my food.
I like to eat.
But then you guys are like, dinner's ready, and you're like, I'm kind of full because you've been like tasting your food the whole time.
You use feet for sub goals, not for bruh.
Excuse me?
I read chat. I was like, oh no, not the feet. Not the feet again.
I got it. Look.
Oh, mo feet.
Oh my god. Mods, kill this man.
How do I spin my model? I forget how.
Spin it?
How do I spin? Yeah, how do I spin?
I think you hold control.
It's control.
Control and then scroll. I was like, it's control, I think. Yeah.
Called Lexi Y.
Tell me why ain't nothing but a
heartache.
Tell me why. I just want your feet. No, I don't actually. I don't. I don't want your feet. Keep it away. No, I'm good.
I'm offering thighs and feet.
Nini's just spinning over there.
They're making it rain feet in chat.
No,
you know what?
Zoom in on my
God.
Anime girl thighs. Anime girl thighs. Anime girl thighs.
This is what happens when you speak before you think. I know. Hey, it's better than I was watching a clip of Haka from Hollow Stars, and he did not. He used a term. He thought when you roasted somebody, you called it a spit roast, and his chat was like, no, that's not what that means. And he's like, wait, what? And he just said it so verbatim, and I was like, oh, that poor sweet summer child.
Oh God, no.
I'm like, so chat, Dars, don't feel bad. At least I didn't say anything like that. I did call you guys motherfuckers on Mother's Day, so I guess that's my Haka. That's about as bad as I get.
That was awesome. I loved when you did that.
So just I speak before I think sometimes because my brain is wholesome in intention, but my mouth is not apparently. I don't know. Trust my heart, not my mouth. Sorry. Anyway, should we go? Shall we go? Shall we
Take
go?
off.
The taxman looks so sad.
I'm still like burpy from the hot sauce. So you guys.
Oh my goodness. You have water? You drinking water?
Yeah, I always have water. It's just that's not gonna help.
Oh, we're going to the wizard.
Oh,
Hey,
so if you see the duck this
You're
time,
a
you
wizard,
can drop
Harry.
it in the cauldron.
Yes.
I love this
Let
map.
me in. Woohoo. I like the
You wish you were a wizard.
Harry Potter looking map. Nothing.
I have.
Abracadabra, these nuts.
Break the hourglass.
Grab it.
Oh, big.
Yeah.
You're a wizard, Josie.
Oh, hey guys.
I don't know what my voice sounds like, so I have no clue, chat.
Wait, what does this sound like? What is this with the thing?
But like if you when you me when you I'm letting this go. Sound like a bunch of druggies. I have no clue what I even sounded like.
I got it. Sounds like what sound like.
Oh. Oh.
Man, when the man risen you up.
They sound like one of those guys who's like trying to make their voice super deep.
Yeah,
That's how I imagine it sounds.
I love those guys.
Yeah, let's go. Like the guys are like, "Hey, baby girl."
Hi, baby girl. Ooh.
Hey, baby girl.
Lexi,
Oh my
stop
God.
being into it. What the
Why?
hell?
We
It makes
don't-
me cringe.
Apparently, Lexi wants to be a Discord kitten.
No! No, I do not want that. No.
Oh, I found a
Lexi,
thing.
Lexi.
I need strong.
Do you want some Discord nitro? You want to be
No.
I need strong. I need multiple hands. I found a big thing.
I got strength.
I need strength.
Strong.
I have a
I'm
cube.
strong.
I have a cube.
Wait, did I pick up strength? I don't know if I did.
I don't know if I did.
Nah, hold on.
Well, we'll just
No. Guys, we need a third. We need a third
We need a
Also,
third
try
wheel.
picking up- Try lifting
Oh,
on the
it's one of
bottom.
those. Okay.
Yes.
There we go. There we go. Scroll in. Alright.
All right.
Alright.
Your monster music.
You know what I say about them anime
Yes.
girls? I get older, they say this to me.
They say the same. Oh no. Oh no, God.
That's what I like about those anime waifus.
Where am I going?
I have to carry that to extraction.
We might.
Okay,
Yeah.
Come here.
I will be
Oh,
your.
right here.
I will be your meat shield.
Ew.
There we go.
I hear monster music.
It's spawning.
Just
heard
do not look at it.
It's the
Do not make eye contact.
It's this
It's the Slender Kid. Yeah.
What if I want to look into his eyes and tell him about
You're gonna get
the love that is
heated.
Sonic the
Yes.
Hedgehog?
He's gonna eat you.
Yeet me!
Ladies, I appreciate the donuts for Stack Up.
Yes!
Which you can do through Tiltify or Twitch, whichever is easy for you. And we
it now.
appreciate it.
Do it
Only if you're
now.
able to.
Do it now.
And if you cannot donate, if you cannot donate, I would greatly appreciate you sharing
Man,
the link that
big
I
head,
posted.
big head.
Oh, big head.
Or you
Big
can
head.
share VFleet's link.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Wait, there's a big head?
Bye,
I was gonna go-
Captain.
I was gonna go
Thank you
find
for the
VFleet link.
lurksies.
I have it pinned in my chat.
Mine's pinned.
I know, but I
Mine
just
is
have the regular Tiltify link. I'm talking about the Twitter links, so if people are on Twitter, they can share.
Oh, she.
yeah.
Cause I be shilling, okay?
Chillin'. Oh,
Alright. If you guys are unable to donate, a thing that is very
He's in
helpful
our
is sharing our
bubble.
cause. So this is VFleet's post on Twitter.
Yes.
If you are on Twitter and would like to retweet that and share that with people so they know that VT is
Please.
working with Stack Up to do this fundraiser through Memorial Day
Yes, please.
weekends and on Memorial Day, then we would greatly appreciate that. Thank you.
And I will not be doing a cover chat if we don't meet the goal, so you know what to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll do
And
covers, but just not the one you choose.
I don't know why I did this, but I was like, I've never done an ASMR stream and everyone wants me to, and I was like, I will do an ASMR stream.
Yeah,
Chat doesn't know what's
I'm
coming.
saving mine for YouTube because I get so awkward with ASMR and people make me awkward, and then I'm like,
I think I'll be okay.
oh, you be fine.
I'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
I'll be fine.
I'm-
We got another
He's
donation.
over there somewhere.
Thank you for the
He's like
$5 to stack up. Hold on, I've got a my
Nice.
wheel of doom. Hold
He's on the left.
Spin.
He's on the left.
Yeah, no spins for me, chat. Not today.
I'm sticking to things that are like easily doable. All right, we're not doing the prank call, so I'm gonna spin again.
Awkward Riz ASMR. Don't worry, chat. I will be saving that for YouTube so we can plan ahead. Plus, it's easier for me because I've told you guys, I live in California. People have loud as fuck cars. So it's easier for me to prepare and not have to deal with very loud, like, mid ASMR. Or like in what do you call it? A siren from an ambulance all of a sudden. Because that's always fun during ASMR.
Hi, Josie.
Hello, are we hiding from a creature?
I heard a creature.
I don't see one, so I think
I
you...
closed the door over there, so we can.
Oh, there's a ball.
So many exciting things planned for VFleet.
Yes, sirree, Bob. Thank you for head patch.
Oh, I
Several
was like, what is
covers.
Do baby show
Several
depriving us of automotive ASMR. I know,
Yeah.
right? No,
There's a
no
plate up
spins
there.
today because no donos, or no spins because collabs. Because of collabs. I mean, I could just do dumb shit if you want. You just have to let me know you donated.
Let's see, is there anything?
The Golden Girls song I do love. Thank you for being a friend. That's a great song. Oh, can I do it like that one meme? That one dude who did it like he was in a church. No, that one guy. if you know, you know. That shit was so good. She.
I don't think they found the next extraction yet.
No, I don't think so. But see, chat, you're gonna have to. We'll pick a song together, but you can only do it if we get to the 5K goal. I'm not doing it if
Is there
not.
something over there?
There is.
Have
Oh,
something for you.
a diamond. Diamond.
There you go.
Thank you for the diamond. Lexi is
You're
treating us to
welcome.
diamonds. Let's see.
I think they've
He's
tried.
in this. He's over there down this hallway.
I lied. Never mind. There's no.
Dig deep, chat, if you can afford. Yes, if you're not gonna kill yourself and you're not gonna undo your bill duage.
I broke the door.
I saw that.
I was
Yeah,
like,
it's down this other hallway. It's where Big Head Guy went.
oh right.
Yeah,
Get low.
just too strong.
Get low, where now? From the window to the wall, to the wall. I'm not gonna actually do that right now.
The whole song.
It's wet right down. No, I'm just kidding. Ah, excuse my God. Ah, excuse my There's like nothing in here. Is it apple bottom dreams of boots with the fur, the whole
You
clothes
know, I
suited
got
her.
low.
She didn't know. Next
Some
thing you
baggy
know, shorty got
sweatpants
low,
and them
low,
Reeboks
low,
with the
low,
shirt.
low. Shorty got
And
low.
gave
He
that
turned
big
around and
booty a
hit the
slap.
big smack.
Next thing you
She hit the
know,
floor.
she hit the floor. She got low.
Johnny got low.
How do I break you?
All night spending my dough, had $1 million, 5 bottles gold, that birthday cakes, they stole the show. She's sexual, she's flexible, professional drinking extra. Hold up, wait a minute, I don't think so. Got to go, woo! Don't think Shreddy got low. Ain't the sign with a
What
duck
is
that
happening?
goes. Make it rain, I'm making it snow. Work the pole, I got the bankroll. I said prefer them no clothes. I'm to love her like women exposed. She threw it back, I got shorty like bow. Catching up, probably I know where to go. She wore them apple bottom jeans.
Oh, there's a man. man. There's a man. Wait, there's a scary man. Scary man.
She hit the floor.
Oh, baby man.
Next thing you know, should have got low.
He's still there. Ah!
I
don't like him.
Reeboks with the strap.
I'm trying to not die. They can die if they want to die in there. I'm not dying. I'm trying to not.
That count, chat?
He won't hurt you if you don't look at him.
He was just.
Does that count, chat?
He was just looking.
Now we hide. Now we hide. Now we hide.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
I'm sorry, ladies. It was for a good cause. Somehow I feel like they'd be the least affected by it. They found a love potion.
I'm just like, oh. Thanks.
What does that sound like with the love potion? Because doesn't that love potion change your voice?
No, it just makes you say stuff.
Oh wait, hold on.
It makes your character say stuff.
So I'm just saying get low with reverb and it's like, I love you.
It was like, I feel majestic when Ali 60 is around. I was like, oh, yes, yes.
And it's like apple bottom jeans.
Booty, 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 rocking everywhere.
Oh, what about I found you, Miss New Booty. Get it together and give it back to me. Just a little bit. Oh, let's go. I got some. Damn it, Josie.
Sorry. The club music comes back in my thing.
Give that to me. Just a little bit. Hey, Josie. Graham, thank you for the raid. How are you?
2, 6, 9,
to the window.
Wow, that's what we're singing earlier. Oh, these bitches. Oh, ski, motherfucker. Oh, ski, stop that. I was like, oh.
What a wonderful raid for Grim to. What a wonderful time for Grim to. Hi, Grim. Welcome to our R.E.P.O collab. As you can see, things are going well.
We're having a great time under the bed.
Where'd Lexi go?
Hello, Phenomenous. Hello, Raiders. And please make sure that you get yourself some water, some food. Please make sure you get a good stretch in your post-stream care. I hope you had a great stream.
Oh, there's Lexi. I see Lexi.
It matches your energy.
Hi.
Grim,
Join us under the bed. We're
Grim,
apparently
tell me,
having a hangout
does your
time over
freak
here.
Match my freak. Does your freak match my freak?
Slindy baby
Does your
over
freak
there.
See, but then I'm like, but then I think that the
Your
songs
freak
that
gonna
people
match my
don't
freak?
know. But then there's
Is your
gonna be
freak
songs that
gonna
people
match my
don't know.
What the heck?
What the fuck?
He yoinked me.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Hi, Lexi.
Did you ever?
Oh, God.
I feel like I'm the only person who
They're
listens
laying pipe
to.
up in here.
Don't worry. I'm not gonna bring the reggaeton up in here. I'm not gonna bring
Are you
that. Up.
talking? Oh.
No.
You don't think I listen to reggaeton?
No, I was like, let's not, because then let's not start that. Let's not start that.
You know what's funny? I had a video call with my doctor today, and he was talking about he was going to a concert for Bad Bunny, and I was like, I love
Bad Bunny. See, I need to go back in. I haven't listened to because I know Weeson and Yandel broke up. Like they went separate ways, but like, are they still doing stuff together now again or no?
Celebrity tea.
How's the church? The church is going amazing. So far, let's check Tiltify.
Yeah, where are we at? Actually, where are we at?
Wait, where are we at? I'm gonna check too.
The Tiltify is currently where are we at?
293.
293, and then
Let's go, baby.
add we gotta add to that. We gotta do math. I'm sorry, we gotta do math. Add $105 to that.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so like
so
293 almost 300.
plus 100 is 393, plus 5 is like $400.
I need to actually.
Ooh, nice.
I need to donate myself actually.
Victory spin. We do victory
Victory
spin.
Victory.
Victory spin.
Hello, JDG. I'm good. Just vibing.
Thank you, Grim. We love seeing you in here. I love seeing you in here. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's Grimville's up in here. Grimville's up in here. So take off all your clothes. A little bit of
As we throw all the 2000s club mixes up in here.
A little bit of Yeah, we're just having a party under the bed. Hey yo, I am say so, 100% say
It's
so.
okay,
This
Grip.
is
So
right.
am I.
Okay.
I feel you, homie. It's all right.
Yeah, Josie, you're 100% say so.
I am. I just say dumb shit. I speak words and I'm like, Maybe I shouldn't have done that.
I tell people, be polite. Josie is like 99% say so. Sometimes she just says things.
I'm just like, I try to like, I'm just like a normal person. I'm just normal. Like, I like to laugh at dumb shit and be goofy.
Yeah.
But at the same time.
I always say, like, I'm not lewd. I am like saisonte. Like, I would not call myself say so.
Yeah,
but
I'm
like
in
I
the
also
middle.
wouldn't call myself extremely lewd either. It's just I'm an adult.
Yeah, right. I'm an adult. Like I just
I'm an adult woman.
You know.
Let me talk about when my back didn't hurt and I could still throw it back and I could walk work.
Goddamn. What is the charity for and what are we shooting for?
So the goal is $5,000. It is for Stack Up, which is a 501c nonprofit that works with active service members and veterans. They do things called like care packages for gaming. They do outings where they bring people to conventions, and they also have peer-to-peer support groups. And their aim is to help service members and veterans get involved with geek culture as a means of coping with their mental health and building their community. So, and I did ask directly when Miss Nam from Stack Up came in, I was like, do anime waifus count? Because I wanted to.
I was like, do we count? Are we
I'm like,
eligible?
does that count as part of Nerd Weeb? But she's like, oh, yes, 100%. I was like,
There's the baby. There's the baby. The baby's behind
Just don't
me.
look at it.
Yeah, still look at it.
yeah, don't look it in the face. Just pretend the child doesn't exist.
Yeah, I love children, but not the ones in this game. The ones in this game I will punt. Because they're demons. I'm like,
He's having a party. Okay, he's gone.
Do we need more money?
Oh.
Probably.
I put some stuff in the extraction.
I think we got everything that I've seen.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
Okay, our bed.
Where does it make her die? Yeah, I don't see anything in here.
That wasn't the most ADHD we've ever.
Under a bed. Wait.
Yeah, throw the ball.
Oh, I missed.
Thank you,
Oh, no.
Graham. I appreciate
okay.
it.
Look at that moolah.
I love money.
My girl waiting back. Waiting back.
Oh shit, the baby.
Making my way downtown, walking fast, something, sometime, da-da-da. Thank you. I knew you would join in on that one.
And I could fall into
Into the sky.
I swear, like, you know that the meme of what is the actor who's from that one movie who does that damn song, Terry Crews?
It was in White Chick.
Yeah, and Terry Crews is in the car. We need art of that, chat, of like all of Fortis just in a car, like, you know, get in loser, we're going shopping, and it's just like, you know, do. There we go.
There's a big head.
Oh, I see him.
Yeah, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Anything helps. Sharing the charity helps. Road trip. Yeah.
Yes.
Your grandparents both served?
Oh,
I have two friends who are veterans. And then obviously we have some veterans in VFleet who are amazing.
Yeah.
And amazing. And along with raising I can speak English, raising awareness for museum ships and aerospace museums.
Like, honestly,
like to support our veterans.
I really wish they had. Well, granted, this was like a bajillion years ago, but like, because my grandfather was a Navy pilot, and
oh really?
He had not good mental health when
yeah.
So I kind of wish back then that was a thing, even though he probably went too stubborn to do it. But you know,
I think the peer support has gone. We can get away from the head. Hold on, run.
Just run, just run.
I like running.
Go.
I love running. I love
I
running.
don't know where I'm going,
I'm just gonna go this way.
but I sure know where I've been.
Okay, over here.
It's the journey.
I like that you picked up on the joke. Thank you.
Thank you for the follow. Thank you.
Come on. Over here.
I'm out of stamina. I'm going.
Oh, hi.
Listen,
Welcome.
my character is having sciatica pains. But yeah, I have two close friends who are veterans, and the thing is that I feel that peer-to-peer support is something that I knew that Stack Up helped organize like getting into like gaming and nerd culture, but when I saw that they did things like they do outings and bring people to conventions, which it can be hard to like get outside the house and readjust.
True.
And
That was my
and that they do
grandfather.
yeah, and
He could
peer-to-peer
not
support
adjust.
group. Well, when Eve when Eve wanted veterans to, or people who knew veterans to share their stories, I reached out to a close friend of mine, but the only thing I know is where he served and that he was in the Army, and then another friend who was a Marine, and the same thing. I know where and when he served and that he's a Marine. My friend who was in the Army, I do know like what his job was, but
See, I had to
he
find that
never-
out.
he never talked about his active service. It was not something that he discussed. I only saw these guys like right out of basic, and then when they came home, they never talked about it. If they went on other tours, they did not talk about it, and they didn't have a lot of
My
support.
lights are broken.
Nah, see, I didn't know anything about my grandfather because he passed long before I was born. So luckily, before I moved from Florida to California, I actually found the paperwork. So I actually know what the fuck he did. I was like, oh my God, after like all this time.
My-
Holy crap.
grandfather
It
is-
took
Well,
forever.
I can understand. I think why my friend doesn't like to talk about his active service because he was a combat veteran, and
It is. It can
and that
be
was
touchy
and
feely.
Yeah.
and it was in so I think that he just didn't like to speak about it, and it's an upsetting thing to think that like that's one of the things I like about Stack Up a lot is the peer-to-peer support, because I think when people have people that have been through this, not necessarily the same but similar experiences, they can form a community and feel a little bit safer speaking about
Yeah.
things if they should want to.
Yeah, it gives them a nice safe place to actually talk and not feel like a fucking, like they're alone in this shit.
Yeah. And that's why, like I said earlier, I loved Eve's tweet about just like if not even just veterans, but like I am the
Message your
worst. Yeah, I'm like the worst about like reaching out, right? And I'm like very introverted when I'm not streaming. And I have those couple extrovert friends. They're like, "How have you been? I haven't heard from you in like a month."
That's me.
It's like, don't worry, guys. I've just been gone for like half a year. Don't worry, it's
I'm so bad at
fine.
reaching out. I'm bad at reaching out to my own family. It's
Right.
a problem.
But especially like Memorial Day weekend, like Eve said, can be a very difficult time. So if you do have friends who are veterans, just like
Check
I
on
send,
your
like,
veteran
memes,
friends, man.
or just like a hey, thinking about you, and just send like a funny meme or something. That's what I usually do to my two guy friends. I've known them since college.
Oh, fuck. I missed.
No, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I'm sorry to hear that.
Hello.
Oh,
I'm not sure. Like, so this is Memorial Day, obviously in the States. I'm not sure about other countries.
baby.
But you should still reach out to
Wow,
your buds.
babies.
Say hi to your buddies.
I'm the baby.
Look, wife, children.
I am like
I'm
the
stepping on you.
I'm like
I'm
the
finally
baby
stepping
from
on
babies.
I'm like Boss Baby. I'm Boss Baby.
I mean, Revenge of
stepping
the
on the
Sticks. I
babies.
literally made a youngling meme. What do you mean more? Stepping on the babies?
See, I'm like a baby, but I'm like an adult. I'm Boss Baby. I'm still small, but
Yeah, and
I am
that's
baby.
when most of my friends served. Was in the early 2000s and 2010s.
I sadly don't have many stories from my grandfather, but he is an Air Force veteran.
You're all getting together for food and things for Memorial Day. I love
Let's
that. That's an
go.
awesome idea.
just hang, do something chill, man.
Yeah.
I'll have to get some cool stories from my grandfather.
Did we grab some upgrades?
It looks like we
Yes, yeah,
did.
bunch.
It
a
looks like we
bunch.
did. I think it likes to grab.
Yeah, I was like, I think we need all this. Oops.
Let's get strong.
Ah!
Strong.
What is that?
Big and strong.
French fry. Nom 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 nom.
Yeah, Gordita. So, one of my friends was deployed to Afghanistan 3 times, and one of my friends was deployed to Iraq.
Up there you go. Ugh.
And they did not. They
smack.
don't talk about.
Oh.
Please don't explode me.
I'm trying to put you in the ceiling.
I got a posture check, and I'm like such a comfy shrimp right now.
Comfy shrimp.
I will say it is pretty cool. That was
up
the one thing
there?
that I had to grab before I left. Is I made sure I took my
Okay, here,
grandfather's.
I'm in the attic, and I have tinnitus.
Oh God! But I took both of my grandparents'. They get their. I know it's the flag. I say the flag, but it's like because I don't know much about it. But it's like when they put their flag in
It's
the
not
like
me, it's
like a
Allie.
case, like a glass case type of thing. I had to make sure I took that with him or took that with me.
It's Allie though.
I'm trying to open it. I'm trying to open it.
She's opening it, Allie. Hold on. There you go. It was
Brother.
Allie. It was not me. It was Allie.
No, it was Lexi. She put you up
It was
there.
Allie.
Lexi put you
It
up
was
there.
Allie.
It was Lexi. She put you
If you watch the VOD, it's Allie.
I trust nothing.
Allie.
See, it wasn't
I'm
me.
good.
I stay
Give me
out
that
of
ass.
this.
Let me see that stern. Let me see that stern. Come here.
You can't get
Let
me.
me see it. Let me see it.
Oh no, I don't like that. I'm so scared. Oh no.
Smack.
As everybody walks into that.
Shake that ass for me. Shake that ass for me. Go on. Shake that ass for
Oh,
me.
I am.
So I think we got all the things we need, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got Washington.
dame
Anyone need help?
paleta.
I'm good on health. Does anyone else need help?
I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm
Okay.
good. I'm good.
Wink.
We love sterns. I will be stern
Yeah,
to your
we love
stern.
Sterns.
Slap that stern.
I don't have one.
Oh, that's true,
Oh, I
yeah.
don't care
Oh,
about
slap.
range.
What is the?
Wait, that's
what is-
ranged. I wanted strength. I'll take a sprint.
I'll take a range. I can grab stuff from
I'll
We have 3
take-
staminas.
I'll take a stamina. Oh. Come back here.
I don't want to take 2 until everyone's had an upgrade.
I've had one,
range.
so I'll take a.
No one.
I'll take a range, I guess. Oh, wait,
Allie,
actually,
did you grab something?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I did. Go for
Alright, I'll grab a stamina since I grabbed a sprint. I already have a strength from
Slap the
earlier.
Josie
Yeah.
stern if you visit. Yes, please do. Give it a good.
Yeah, go ahead.
Respectfully.
Try to touch the stern and see what they do at the museum.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say respectfully. I'm sure Ryan will come
If
for your ass.
If anything, I riz my chat.
I do not riz my chat.
I just have to give them.
Oh, by the way, guys.
My
I
chat
just
is
wanna give
doing.
them-
I
No,
did.
no. I clipped some alley riz.
Oh, I saw. Saku, thank you for the
Oh,
refresh
yes.
for your 6 months.
I just have to give chat a little kiss, and then they're all flustered.
A good
Or
schmack.
or you could tell them that they're all good boys.
They are not
I
good
did.
boys. I burned them
I did.
alive.
That was actually. I
She's
think that was
learning.
actually the riz.
I see. I don't give my
like-
chat any riz. I deprive them of riz. Apparently.
Deprive them of. The
Apparently, I guess
Deprive
that's
them.
all chat really wants. I'm like, oh, man, sucks for you, I guess. Damn. Sorry, chat. Let's see, what do we got? Oh, there are many things in here. Ooh. Ah! Oh, damn it. Oh. There's a music box in there, so prepare to dance.
Oh.
I'm a good boy. Never unsay so or unsaintly. Never. Of course. Never. Ever.
The
No.
bookshelf.
She resists us without trying. Sometimes. Damn. I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that, man.
I got it.
What do we got? Anything? Oh. Is there anything in here? No. Nothing. Close this door. No. There's nothing in here. No. Nothing.
We need this is a team effort.
What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Oh. No, it's the music box. I don't want to dance anymore. Keep it close to me. It's fine. Ah, yeah. I can make this work. I can make this work, chat. I can make this work, chat. I can make this work, chat. Oh, the doors are closed. Oh, hello. Oh, what are you? Oh, what are you? Ooh! Ow. I got halved health. Close this door. Ugh. Chat, there's an alien. Tell them there's an alien. There's an alien that took half of my health. There's an alien that took half of my health back there.
Yeah, it teleports though. Oh, wait, someone help me before it drops.
There we go.
I'll keep a lookout because it's...
Yeah, he kinda...
He teleports around.
Yeah, I didn't like him. He had big brain.
Hold on. We need to rotate him.
Alright, I will not try to rotate so we
Am I
don't...
going the wrong way?
Dance for us, Josie. We need it.
Wait. Why is it looking extractions over to the... Where am I going?
It's over here.
It's right here.
It's
Don't
right
drop
here.
it, don't drop it,
It's right here.
Oh, so I'm
Wait,
like,
rotate it the other way, rotate.
oh. I'm trying to remember how to rotate.
Right click.
There we go. There we go. Oh. There we go. Alright, we got it. Alright. There we go.
Nice.
Oh, we lost
Not
a
so
little bit.
nice, Sue.
It's alright, it's alright, it's alright. I
You
will...
might have to stand it up.
There we go.
Make it
Come in
stand
this
up.
way.
Put it down for a second. Put it down.
Put it down really
We're
quick.
good. Wait, we might be okay. We're okay. We're okay.
There
Oh,
you go.
okay.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
Get that
Slide
bad
him
boy
on
in there. There we go.
He's sticking out, kind of.
It's
Oh,
the
yeah, it'll get
alien.
close.
Get rotated. Yeah,
It'll
get twisted, chat.
It's gotta hold on. It's gotta rotate it. It'll get. That's in.
Okay.
Yeah, because it'll. If it's not all the way in, it'll get crushed by the extractor. Okay, there is stuff to the right.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I couldn't get because of that
Oh,
damn
do you wanna get this?
alien.
I'll get this thing off.
Hey. Where was I? I don't even remember where I was before I... Oh, right. I have the dance thing. Ah! Jesus. All right. As long as the doors are open, I'm good. I'll just dance my way. Ow. Ow. It's fine. It's fine, chat.
I got the cart. It's right here behind you.
There's another big object in this room. I don't know
Ah!
what it is.
Get... Oh, my
Just
Lanta.
don't pick it up. Try and push it in.
Yeah, it's like... Oh, fucking... Hold on.
Here, I'll try and...
God damn it. I hate this thing. I hate this thing so much. There we go. Oh. Ah! Well, you know what? That thing deserved to die.
Fuck that music box.
That thing deserved to die.
Hey, look what I got.
Oh. Oh, it's this thing.
I'm breaking it.
Oh.
Oh, that's
That's a big boy. Oh.
Oh.
Well.
Never mind.
There was nothing here. There was nothing here. Don't worry about it.
did it break?
There was totally nothing here to begin with. It was a figment of our imagination.
It might have broken. It's fine. Don't worry about it. There's other room.
It was never there to begin with. You saw nothing. It was the wind. It was the wind, chat. You saw nothing.
Is it an ocarina of time though?
I heard stomping.
That could be the shotgun guy or the wait.
I'm sorry, I was making it rain. My bad. Wrong thing.
Okay.
Where's the...
It is.
Oh, it's right here. Okay.
The cluster
Oh.
is yellow. It looks like there's something right
How are we
here.
gonna get this down?
They'd have to grab
it's
it from
probably
down
All right,
there.
my
Hey,
ladies,
guys.
we have a thing.
Oh, okay, hold on.
Oh no, it's another ocarina. I thought it was a vlog.
I don't know if I can.
Yeah, sorry, I went for Song of Storms. My bad, chat. I was making it rain. Oh, I got
Oh,
it.
it's the alien.
Grab me.
I'm picked up by the alien because I'm in its radius.
Hey, Zoka, thanks
It's
for
the
the
alien.
Run.
Nope, 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 nope. No! No, he got me! No, I'm dead. I'm so dead. Oh, 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 I'm so dead.
No.
I'm so dead, chat. I'm so dead, chat. Yep. I'm so dead, chat.
Oh no.
Yep.
Dang it. Okay.
Yep. I took it for, I tanked it for them. Rip Bozo, you know, I will rip your fucking face. You better donate to Stack Up, you fool. I joke. Yeah. Well, I guess we get to hang out, chat. We get to hang out. Josie should have played Song of Healing. I should have. I really should have. God, I haven't played Majora's Mask in so long. I haven't. Oh my god, it's been so long. I actually need I need to replay those. Like, I was such a big Legend of Zelda person back in the day, but I'm not gonna lie, chat. I have both.
I don't know.
I think I already own Tears of the Kingdom, and I own what you call it? Oh my gosh, what is Breath of the Wild? And I have not played either. I haven't played either. I got so turned off by the voice acting because I'm so used to Zelda games having like no voice acting to that magnitude, and I got so like, I don't know, it was very weird. So I just didn't play it.
Should we extract?
She was stealthy. That's yeah, stealthy. But I guess I should probably play both of those, huh?
You could probably put like one.
Would you guys want to suffer through me playing
can you
Breath of the
maybe-
Wild?
Hold on, let me see.
Because I've been meaning to play it, but I just never got around to it.
I'm making space. I think it could fit.
Because I love me a good Zelda
I
game.
put a cup in there.
Oh yeah, okay, that could work.
I guess I've just, I don't know.
Yeah, that works.
It's not that I didn't want to. Again, I was like, the voice acting was kind of weird.
And then
To me, I was just like, huh? Could always wait until you get a Switch 2. I am
I'm
not
about to
touching a
7.
Switch 2 with a million foot pole. I will play on my normal Switch and be happy with that.
Here,
Oh,
I'm
I'm
gonna give you some
alive!
back rubs. I'm gonna give you some back rubs.
Yay! I love back robes. Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you. Oh, I'm 21. Let's go. I can legally drink again. Yay! Yay! Let's see. Use a toggle when you're doing rat strats. Rat strats. I love rat strats. Let's see. We like to adventure chat. We're gonna find stuff. Let's see. We went in a circle. I love that. Oh! There's a slicer lady! Slicer lady! Drink water, you mean? Wait, what? Drink water. Water! Thank you for hydrate. I am drinking my Vita Coco, which is coconut milk. Coconut water. Deciduous Outlaw, thank you for the follow. Thank you. Drink water. Don't give out money to Nintendo. They give it all to the blood. They give it all to their bloody lawyers. Yep, I'm not buying a Switch 2. I will enjoy my normal Switch and call it a day. Thank you for the fart dirt. Ooh, woo, thank you. There was a Slicer sister lady somewhere.
Yeah, I heard her screeching.
Yeah, I ran away. You're doing a wise
she's right
choice.
there.
Ay-ya!
Oh, she's right there. Slide under the chair, under the chair, under the chair.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
There.
Mm,
She was just standing there, like, peek around the corner.
let's see. I'll get it mainly because Nintendo's like the one company that actually prefers to like. No, I will never give
She's a
Nintendo
regular
money for the
distraction.
Switch 2. No, the Switch 2 is not worth it. It's not worth
No,
it.
I agree. It's not.
No, I would never.
It's literally just gonna be PC gaming, but on a small screen.
Yeah, let me go play on what in the voice chat is going to be on old school Skype level
Yeah.
quality.
Yeah.
Doo 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 doo.
I'm also not a fan of the whole like key thing that they're gonna do.
The Switch 2 will not be owned by me. It will not be owned by me. Never.
No.
Unless
I'm happy
they
with my OLED.
unless they lower that price down like a lot, not touching it. They will learn by me not giving them money for my wallet. Well, no they won't, but still.
Just the key thing that they're gonna do. I don't really see the need of it. That's
Yes,
why
the key thing is such
cartridges.
bullshit. Like what the fuck?
It was the whole reason for cartridges.
It's like okay. We live in
Like
this.
our cartridges not good enough anymore.
I want to lick my cartridges. I don't want to live in a dystopian environment. Please let me lick my cartridges. $90 game. I know. It's like
And,
concert
yeah,
tickets,
they're
man.
upping up the price of their games to like 80 to 90, and it's ridiculous.
This has
Like, I can't-
replayability and people love
Can't
it.
even
100
afford
bucks.
Luigi's Mansion because it was still $60, and it's like years old now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like I
Thank you
just
for the
can't.
follow.
I just can't, my man.
Yeah,
It's not worth.
it's just not. Nope.
You aren't buying a
It's not.
Switch. It's now a bloody license to use it. Yes! It's like, bruh, if it would be like if Steam tried. I mean, technically Steam gives us keys. I mean, we don't have physical copies, and if Steam were to die, like all of our games are just gone. But they wouldn't do that
Right.
intentionally. That I would hope. That I would hope. I don't know. I'm pretty sure they would have a war on their hands if they did.
Wonder if Slicey Tiny is.
I like to hope so.
Oh, they told me to do that.
Oh, hello, Slicey.
Oh.
Oh, I spoke too soon. Greed is also a thing, and that's what this is. Truing. Truing, 100%.
He's just around the corner again. Oh my goodness. Hello?
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 I'm still down here underneath the table. When the N64 had high prices, Sony's PS1. I know. Sony was like, you want to play that game? Come here, everyone. We have cheap games here.
Cheap games.
It's like, you want to play Nintendo games? Yeah, come here, man. We have low polys and cheap prices.
Was in fact not gone. I like walked out here.
I know,
Around
right?
that
I heard the
corner.
click and I was like, son of a bitch, she's still here. That bitch fucking waited.
Oh, she's coming back. Oh my god.
Oh, I'm fucked. Oh, I'm fucked. Well, I could not get in the damn thing.
Oh my god, you've got to be kidding me.
I know, right? It's like she just would not let us leave.
Bitch, no.
She knew. She knew.
Oh no, the car is still down there.
The Switch one sold amazing because it was affordable. The
Well,
Switch
I
2
don't know where the
price
car is,
isn't
like-
insane, but everything with the games will prove
They
disastrous.
just
No
need
one
the
has that
cart.
kind of
They
money.
already
They
got
don't.
quota.
Well, we can get the cart and get. Are they dead?
No, they're alive.
Oh no, they don't know. They'll
They
learn.
don't know.
They will learn.
Oh, someone died. Someone actually did die. Okay.
Oh no!
Remember what Sega said, Josie? They do what Nintendo don't. Hey, that's why I love Sega, man.
Oh, Lexi.
Oh, that's right.
No.
Sega did the sassy thing when they were announcing the price for the Mario Kart, and Sega was like, "Oh, guess what? We're making a racing Mario or a racing Sonic game, and guess what? It's like not $1 bajillion dollars." And guess what? You can play with your friends for no extra cost. Crazy. I was like, Sega, I love you. I will always love you, even though you kind of dig my boy Sonic dirty. I will always love Sega.
You know, at least we got us some money. We got some money, guys.
Let's go!
Slicey Granny was camping us.
Lexi just has to make it to the. Lexi's just gotta make it to the truck. I got attacked by like 3 monsters at once.
Yeah, we got camped by Slicer, madam.
Yep, she found
me too. Oh no!
And then
Oh, she might be okay.
To the alien.
She might be okay.
If it drags,
no, it'll
crap.
still flinger.
Because she's so close to the ground.
But, it will, but if you're
well,
no.
Just kidding. Good Josie. Well.
Yeah, we got camped by Slicey Granny.
Yeah.
We did very well. I'm proud of us.
All right.
Oh, okay. I'm sliding. Why am I sliding? Okay, there we go. Thank you.
Oops.
Grenade.
Well then. Well then, Chad, we're the queen of the losers again.
Yeah, king of the losers.
It's the host luck. It's host luck.
I just literally swing. I just literally dick swing everywhere. I just like close my eyes and just swing. Easy peasy. Holy moly.
It's the host luck.
I think we did pretty well.
I think so.
We did good. We did good.
I think we did good. Yeah. For 2 games, I mean, hey.
I just want to say that I made the most money that one. Even if I
True.
I might die a lot, but let's just say I'm good at securing the bag, okay? No fear, no brains.
Yes, true.
I think if I took an ace fab, I would like do very low on it.
I'd
probably be eating crayons. It's fine.
Gonk.
Gonk. Boo 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 boo.
Skonks. Skonks. Yeah, exactly. We're all about the skonks up in here. Chat, can we get some man I love Fortis, man I love Fortis, man I love Fortis, man I love Fortis,
Yes, man I love
Fortis, man I love Fortis, man I love Fortis, man I love Fortis.
Man, I love Fortis. Man, I love Fortis.
Man, I love Fortis. Man, I love Fortis. The pronunciation is killing me.
Come on, we've got to make a thing because we're also a little at the 3-hour mark.
Oh.
Yeah, Maggie is streaming. We can all do a triple raid.
Yeah. All right,
Quad raid.
No, I need an emote from each of you, okay? And hold on, I need to not do this on OBS because it's.
Yes, man, I love Fortis. Man, I love Fortis. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
I want to use one from every. I want to use one from every Fortis.
I love.
Oh, sorry, I gotta go post that on TikTok after stream because I gotta get the TikTok brainy zoomies. I love song. It's that R.E.P.O song.
Let's put a Josie heart.
I know.
Let's put. I think we all have a heart.
Yeah, I think we all have a heart, right?
Yes.
We all have.
I don't have access to everybody's hearts, but I can. Let me see. What else do I? What do I have? What do I have?
I have.
I think
a
I have
wave, a
everybody's.
heart, a
Maybe.
raid, a
Oh, I think
pat,
I do. Maybe. Maybe.
Keck and Engie.
Why did Josie not have everyone's hearts? Someone fix
I love
it.
older women.
I have everyone's
chat,
but
we love
Allie's. What
older
the
women.
fuck? I
Yes,
thought
we
I had
love
us up
older
there.
women.
Thank you.
We love
favorite.
older women, chat.
Josie has no heart. You son of a bitch. I'm just kidding.
What do you mean? Josie
setting
has
up
the
a-
biggest heart. You can't see that.
I have only the biggest. Thank you for
But-
head pets.
I think that's good. He's like, shut up. Thank you for the head pets. Are we all getting head patted right now?
Apparently. They are your aid. I know, right? It's like, I love how like people just immediately are like hags. It's like, wait, I mean, but like, I guess, true.
Thank you for the head pat. Thank you.
I suppose. Well, that's right, because
Well,
like
should,
in VTuber world, if you're older than 25, apparently you're
Ellie
immediately a foot in the
incoming.
grave.
Oh, God.
Are you gonna join me in the hag? in
Thank you for the
hag
head
parade?
pats, El Gordito.
Yes. What shall our raid message be?
Yes.
From all of us?
I'm doing Man I
Oh,
Love
from all of
Fortis
us.
with a heart from all of us. Yeah.
Yeah, I will do the hearts
Yeah,
that I have.
that could be the raid message. Everyone do Man I Love Fortis with.
Yeah, someone
our
posted in
hearts,
chat
our
so I can
respective
copy
emo
paste because I'm
hearts.
lazy as fuck.
I'm doing it right now. I'm doing
Yeah.
Because I'm lazy.
The folder.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there you go. Nini put raid message there. There's our raid message.
Yee, let's go.
Oh no.
Oh, thank you, ladies. I had so much fun with our collab.
Yeah.
We have to do it
My mouth just
again.
stopped.
So we're gonna all bum rush
Let me get my raid
Maggie,
started.
right?
Yeah, I didn't start my.
Yeah, we're gonna
Okay,
go.
good.
We're gonna go bombard.
Are we
Maggie.
setting it up now? Are we setting it up now?
Because I have my stream deck, so
Alright.
I'll just wait till we say yay.
All right,
go-
everyone. Thank you so much for coming to the collab.
Yes, I'm
Yes,
Fortis
ladies.
collab.
If you're not
Where's
following
Fortis?
any of my
Where's
sisters,
Fortis
please do
collab?
so.
Fortis collab.
Our next one should be a Bean Boozle.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
down for that.
We'll plan it out. You know what? I'll hit you out
We'll
with
plan
something
it
else.
out. Bean
Yash.
Boozle Fortis collab.
For everyone's chat.
Yes.
All right.
Oh.
There you go. Ara for the road.
Era. There you go. Era.
Take one
And we're
for the road.
leaving.
Era chat.
leaving.
We're getting ready to
I
go.
did start my raid.
Are we starting to go? Okay.
I'm
Okay,
starting my
chat.
raid. I'm starting my raid now.
If you're not following my sisters, follow them.
Join.
Donate to
We're
stack
raiding
up.
out.
Raiding.
Talk to you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Join the raid. I can see you. I can see you if you're not joining. All right. Goodbye, everybody.